it will get mean. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Snark Tank podcast. I'm speaking slowly because I just downed a sandwich and I'm in pain. This is episode, I think, what is it, 127, I think?
Something like that.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, one of those numbers.
It sounds about 127 hours.
Yeah. The podcast?
Yeah, we've been doing this.
We're
only talking about that movie.
Yeah. Do we have to, like, cut our arms off? Is that the right movie?
Do we have to mention...
Is it his leg or his arm? Is his arm, right?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
You've never seen it?
No.
I don't think I saw it.
It's really...
Did you see where they had to...
Okay.
They had to cut out the part where he Good God.
It's where a man gets trapped by a boulder and he has to cut his dick off. Yeah.
And it's
James Franco on top of it. So, you know, it's aged immaculately well.
Damn.
I remember James Franco giving an interview and he was really angry that they wouldn't call it 127 dicks. And, you know, but they worked it out, though.
Very upset about it. He was like, why?
Right. Well,
we agreed to something. We agreed to this.
You're out of your mind. We're here with YMS. We're here with Your Movie Sucks.
I'm here.
It's been a while since we've done a guest episode, and you know I've known Adam for a hot minute now, and it seemed like a good way to get back. Yeah, very hot. And it seems like a good way to get kind of back on the guest saddle. We've been skimping on that because it's a lot easier not to do it, to be honest. Like, it just really is. It's a lot easier to bully your friends into going to a place at a certain time and meeting on Discord than it is to like schedule with other people. So I'm glad you made the time.
I'm glad I came
and
here
showed
too.
up. Man.
Yeah, you're gonna have a bad time though. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, Sweeney.
I'm used to it.
So Sweeney's going on vacation in like 4 hours to Seattle. Mm-hmm. So we don't have the time to make this our normal 7-hour guest episode.
Normal.
So we'll usually we'll cut it down to about 2. You know,
I'm trying to give myself a bang.
You're gonna bring your fucking lightsaber with you?
I mean, no, I'm not gonna bring it. That costs too much money to bring with me.
How much did you spend on that lightsaber? I want you to be.
I'm not gonna tell you. It's none of your business.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's all of our business.
Uh-oh.
Guess. Go ahead.
Is it anywhere close to $400?
Close.
Oh no, that was too long of a pause.
No, it's close. Not very close, but it's close.
That's
I was gonna say like in the upwards of 700.
No way. No way.
It's wild that people.
No, I know how much it is. I know these things, man. And
okay, how much is it?
Suck your dick?
It
can. Away from it.
It can suck my dick.
It was 5 plus tax.
No,
if it was a fleshlight, I would at least see some utility there. But it still would still not be.
I'm being completely honest. It was not that much money. 110%.
Well, good.
I would not spend over $500 on that. I would want to. Don't get me wrong. If I was in a better place, I would get one customly made for my hand, particularly. But I'm not. That's not
for your hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I just can't. Because they don't. It doesn't project light like in the movies.
Well, yes. We don't have that technology.
It also doesn't cut people like the movies.
It also doesn't.
Yeah, like I can't fuck with that.
It also doesn't require a Jedi Master to wield. So yes, Derek, I understand. I get it.
I mean, I would absolutely like if that was real. Like if you really could have a light sword and it would cost you $400.
Of course.
That's not bad for a light sword.
They'd be all over the military. It'd be everywhere. It'd be Somalian children running around waving real lightsabers, chopping up Americans, bro. It'd be everywhere.
That's scary. That's like
my problem.
That's like in The Giver when they see the planes in the sky or whatever the hell.
Like,
that's
the
whole twist of that book. It's like,
still hand-to-hand
drop
combat, basically. The
Yeah.
close quarters combat, I don't know. Everything's just drones now. I don't know how practical that is.
That's why I want... Can't we go back, or at least it's not? We are progressing by using lightsabers, but in a form we are going back because we're just doing close quarter combat. Sorry,
CQC.
Yeah, I just my brain fried right now.
It's okay.
But wouldn't that be so much better? And then you also think that if you are against war, there would be much less because. Who really wants to just cut people in half?
It'd be more intimate.
Really?
It'd be way more intimate killing people.
I mean,
way more.
I think a nice middle ground would be to allow the drones
To have
to
lightsabers?
involve themselves in CQC. Because that's not something we've seen really. Like we usually a drone is like kind of like a bitch move. It's like, oh, I'm in the sky. And
Do you
you're
mean
gone.
like Jack and Gears of War or something? Or what do you mean?
I mean,
If you
like
give the drones sentience and then give those same drones lightsabers, so they have to be close.
So you're talking about Transformers pretty much. It comes down, it turns to like a bumblebee form. It kicks a few people, and then it drone strikes them and leaves.
Or was that show BattleBots? Like that's how we decide wars now.
Metabots.
Can I?
We just do that?
I'm glad Transformers was brought up because I always feel weird about that IP specifically because I remember because I didn't really grow up with those at all. Like I have no nostalgia.
It's
or
before
like
us. That's why.
What happened?
It's before us. Transformers, like the golden era of Transformers, before us.
I guess it was more 80s.
I think every generation has them though. Oh, you mean like OG?
We've had them, but like when it was like awesome, they had that movie where it had that like great music scene where like Optimus Prime and Metatron are fighting each other, and it's like actually epic. It's like, oh, that was.
What I don't know what we're talking.
Are you
talking about the '80s one?
Yeah, the movie like right after they beat.
Oh, you're
Unicron?
talking about with the
I didn't
band
watch
America.
it.
You're talking about the band America, and it's like you got the touch.
Yeah, like that's
You
the
got the
golden age of like Transformers.
I am out
That's
of my
before
depth.
us.
I was going to talk about the 2007 one that everybody really really loved
The first movie.
with Linkin Park. At the end.
Yeah,
I didn't hate
it
that
was a
movie at
big
all.
thing when it came out. But
Sam, suck my cock, Sam.
Sam.
It's good. You'll like it.
They really put fucking Even Steven in a Transformers movie, and it worked.
Oh
somehow.
yeah,
that is
yeah. Shia
insane to
LaBeouf
me.
was to Steven Spielberg as Macaulay Culkin was to Michael Jackson, basically.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Interesting.
Yeah, he just
Shia LaBeouf had like a contract with like Paramount, I think.
that's insane. I remember. It's so funny because when I think of Shia LaBeouf now, I don't think of him as an actor. I think of him as the "He Will Not Divide Us" guy.
Oh, yeah.
with those
Meme
fucking
lord.
flags. That was so. And then he vanished. Didn't he show up like recently and stuff? I don't know.
Well, he.
I think of him mostly as a plagiarist.
What did he do?
Everything. He'll do his own like weird art projects and be like, okay, I'm gonna stand over here and this is gonna be an experiment about what people can do to me. And then it's like, okay, anybody who's familiar with like Marina Abramovich is like, okay, well, you're just stealing the exact same thing she did. And then he got caught on plagiarizing another thing, had to apologize for it, and then his apology was plagiarized. Like, not kidding. This is all like absolutely bizarre. And then there's other things that people didn't even catch. I remember looking at like a Facebook video that was shared back when I still used Facebook for some reason. And it was like,
Was it the freestyle?
Wow, he's really freestyling on. It was behind the scenes for Fury, the Brad Pitt movie, and they're like, "Wow, what a great freestyle!" And people were like sharing it. And I just Googled some of the lyrics. I'm like, "Oh, this is an existing song." Like, he's kind of
just think he's
a notorious plagiarist.
No reason to do it. He just does it.
Yeah.
He just can't help himself.
Yeah,
blew
it's so
my
weird.
mind. He did a freestyle on Sway, like on Sway in the morning, like a real like popular music thing, and it was apparently plagiarized, and I was so hurt because it was so good, and I was like, "Why, Shy? Why would you lie to me? I'm already in your corner. You don't gotta lie to me to get me more in your corner. I'm already there." And then he did that whole thing where abusing his girlfriend, and I was like, "Oh,
oh yeah." It's crazy that he feels the need to like consider himself to be some sort of like artist in that sense. Like, no one's pushing him to do all these weird projects independently of the movies that he's in. But he's so insistent. He's like, no, I need to be looked at as some sort of like auteur or something. And now people just look at him as an autist.
I respect it just for no reason at all. He would be totally fine. He would have like the accolades of him being an actor and not like, in my opinion, not horrible. He's fine in things that I've seen him in. I've seen him and I'm like, he's a pretty good actor. I don't know, whatever. He would be fine if he did that. So I kind of respect when people just go out of their way to do stupid shit. Respect is probably the wrong word, but there's just something about it that like I enjoy.
There's a genre of reverence, I guess, in people being entertaining in whatever way they can. The thing to me that confuses me about it is just like, I mean, it probably roots back to the whole. I mean, he was a child star. I mean, that can't be a great start.
Yeah,
but that's not the meta. I think that's not the meta for like being a fine person growing up. You know?
Yeah.
Like, don't be a child star.
Yeah, I mean, it's not their choice, really. You know, but
at a certain point, it is
true.
But also, like, to me, it's like the most confusing thing about it is that he plagiarizes in areas where it's not even like he would be expected to be like why?
Exactly.
Like I could let's say you're an artist and you're losing your touch, right? And like everything's riding on your next fucking big art piece, and you're like, fuck it, I gotta steal. You know, at least there's like some. It's not justifiable, but at least I can understand the ape brain part of it, where it's like, okay,
some people are just incapable of being creative.
Right,
which is insane.
But then it's like, I'm an actor, so I'm gonna plagiarize a freestyle. The connective tissue is completely absent. It's so
some people just
unnecessary.
have like weird compulsive things that they do. Some people are just absolute, like almost psychopaths, or
they're
like,
just they're neurotic lunatics.
Yeah, it's like a mental disorder. Like, you know, some people are kleptomaniacs. That like they know that they shouldn't steal, and there's no good reason for them to, but they just feel some sort of compulsion or urge to, and they keep doing it. And
right, yeah. I think of like somebody like what was it, Winona Ryder, for example, who got
was that
caught.
Thing?
Yeah. This was
that.
a long time ago. Yeah, right. And she's already a known. I always think about the people who are known and then they're still doing.
Winona Ryder, like the girl from like
the Stranger Things.
Scissorhands.
Yeah.
Really? She's a kleptomaniac?
Yeah. She was.
Well,
I remember there was a long time ago. She basically, it's so funny now when we talk about it, because like she got kind of canceled for that like ages ago. Like she lost a lot of work and just sort of faded into obscurity because she was a kleptomaniac. Think about that. That's fucking
man.
that.
Imagine.
In the context of today, that is astounding. And obviously now she's back because, you know, she didn't really do anything too terrible.
Yeah, and she's like,
but
no one remembers that either. It's not like it's even. There's probably all these people that are 20 years, 25 years and younger that are like have no idea.
I didn't even know that she was a kleptomaniac at all.
I can't remember how I heard that, but it was definitely through a conversation with someone much older than me. I think Mick. I think Rice Pirate brought it up to me. And I was like, that's fucking that. I had no idea, no knowledge at all. She was just the Edward Scissorhands woman, and she was in Heathers too, right? Am I insane?
Girl Interrupted, I think. Was she
I don't know.
Yeah, that's one.
Is that real?
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah, I think she got an Oscar for that. No, wait, Jolie got nominated.
Oh,
Winona.
Oh, right.
Jolie,
really?
She was acting at that time. Wow, what year was this?
Winona Ryder was nominated for 2 Oscars. Little Women in 1995 and Age of Innocence in 1994. She was in Girl Interrupted, but the Oscar was for Angelina Jolie, and she won.
You know what's crazy? I thought Jolie's first movie was Tomb Raider. I'm being dead serious.
That's funny.
I thought that was her first movie.
It makes sense to believe that.
That's the first time I saw her.
Although, like,
ever.
why would you put her in like a big franchise if like she was?
That's her first.
I was
movie.
6.
No one's seen her
I had
before.
no clue. I was just like, I guess this woman's here now. She's Laura Croft, I guess.
Yeah, you don't have a concept of industry when you're that young. Although,
Oh no, I had like the funniest like weird misconceptions about how movies were made when I was like, what, maybe I don't know what age I must have been, like 12 or something. I was like coming up with all of these theories, like, and because you see the Freddy glove at the end of the Friday the 13th Part 9, and so they're definitely and like. There was something in one of the Evil Dead movies where there was like a Freddy glove in the background or something. I was like, and they're gonna like attach them on together. And I thought that it was like some coordinated, like, this is where the direction things have to go. And I had no concept of like different writers, different directors, and different like studio ownership of each property. And I had no concept of that. I was like, and they're gonna blah, 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 blah. I just thought it was all just like something that just happened.
I know exactly what you mean, because that's how I felt about video games for a long time. I think I had like a weird understanding of movies a little bit earlier. I'm not like a cinephile or anything, but I think because I had an interest,
file.
Another kind of file, different kind of file. This is I'm not boy in a band, right? But I think, I missed
that one.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is breaking as of
Did
today.
something happen that I'm
It's
not
a lot. It's a
aware
lot
of?
going on. It's a lot going on in that situation.
We don't have to talk
Bro.
about that. That's okay. I was just I didn't know.
This is what we do though. Well, I just need time to process this.
The story is ongoing, but we
Okay.
won't say anything definitive because
There's more plot
legally that
being
would be
revealed as
probably
we
like a
talk
lot.
right now. Probably.
Oh, so there's allegations?
Yeah. There's a big Reddit post that I haven't read the full thing of, but I've skimmed it, and it's it's interesting.
Okay,
Bro,
I've
what's
always thought that older men that try to dress, especially with their hair, extremely young boyish, turn out to be pedophiles.
Do you remember?
That's just an observation.
If you're past 35, your
And
hair
I think
slicked
it's
back,
fairly
bro.
because you're trying to signal like, yes, I want little girls to like me, sort of thing, right? That's like generally how it works.
Yeah,
I'm just speculating.
No, yeah. This is all speculation.
I just want to say one of the first posts I saw on Twitter right now, in all caps, says, "Can we go one fucking day without another pedo? Fuck, I really like Point of Pen." I'm like,
That's
Jesus
funny.
Christ.
Did you see did you see the photo I tweeted of you, me, and him?
Did you do that?
I just said, oh no, but
Oh, you took a photo with him.
yeah, it like VidCon in like 2017.
Oh, great.
Or whatever.
Come on, man.
I had to get out ahead of
So,
it. You gotta get out ahead of those things. You know what I mean?
And what are you
I am
doing
so
with them?
happy to just like not be associated with like major people that get canceled. Like, there's been some, I guess, but like, I'm very happy to like somehow have just gotten lucky to not know these. It's not like through any sort of intent, but just be like, oh wow, okay, I'm not like strongly
Bro, I love
associated
it,
with
man.
this person.
I
Good.
love it. I love having no drama. I have the most drama-free
I don't know.
life ever, and I love it. It's great to see other people suffer. It's fine to see other people suffer sometimes, you know? Like, it's not that it's good, but it's just like, dang, I'm glad that's not me.
Oh, of course. That's what is it, Schadenfreude or whatever?
Yeah, it's like, whew.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
I'm just annoyed by, because I feel like there's so many, like I wouldn't consider anyone that I'm talking to right now a normie, but then the more I'm on the internet, I'm like, and you're seeing what a lot of people do. Like, I every once in a while, Adam, I follow this drama of this guy named Ethan Ralph. If you don't know of him.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I'm aware.
So I follow him a lot just because it more and more that I look into these people, I'm like, I guess I am a fucking normie. Because I don't do anything
in comparison.
No, you're not a
that's what I'm
normie.
saying.
You're just not a degenerate. There's a
I was
difference.
about to say, not being a normie doesn't normie doesn't mean like you've got a clean record, I guess, and not being a normie doesn't necessarily mean that you're a degenerate.
Yeah, because Bill Cosby's certainly a normie.
Not anymore.
That's a good. Well,
What do you mean not anymore? You think he's on 4chan boards?
It was the norm
anymore.
in the 70s to just like rape children, basically. You know,
I mean,
it was the norm. Yeah, that was
I feel like
Roman
it's been
Polanski was just doing a normal thing in the 70s.
I feel like it's been a normal thing as long as history's existed, I guess, to just do that. And it's a sad truth because there's just throughout history people have been tossing kids, and it's like,
Have you
why? Is
Like
everybody doing this?
like almost every big celebrity, especially like musicians, like in the 70s, you look up like, oh wow, they were just like dating a 16-year-old at the age of 30. It's like that doesn't really fly today.
Yeah,
but it was like in the 70s, it was like, oh yeah, because they have a lot of young impressionable fans that want to suck their dick. Why wouldn't they do that sort of thing? It's just kind of like,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Then you look at like some of your friends' parents, or maybe even your own parents, and you're like, whoa, there's a pretty big age. When did my parents meet? When did your parents meet? There's a big age gap.
Yeah.
It was
It's
like
weird,
much
dude.
more of like a normal thing.
It is. My
friend's
parents.
my friend's dad. It's
It's one of those.
The funny thing is, I've known about their age gap since I've known him since I was like 13 or whatever. And then as I got older, and I'm like, wait a minute, because it's like substantially fucking different.
How big is it? It can't be that big.
It's Mexico standards. They're from Mexico, so just that's all you need to know. It's
I'm not going to unpack that.
Oh, it's wild.
Convert it to pesos.
And he
Can you convert it to pesos?
he basically like claimed her. You know what I mean? He just like
Trapped her.
Yeah, like kind of like you're mine. I'll take this one, and then but they're still
I'll
together.
take
They're
this
There's
one.
still
fucking,
arranged marriages in many cultures today. Like
Bro,
a lot of
Good point.
things are constantly evolving. Like our perception of like
I know people
consent
who
and
I know people currently who have chosen, who've been like, I would prefer that. I would prefer an arranged marriage, which is crazy.
No,
Are they
I really
ANCAPs?
wouldn't. That's just someone talking shit.
I mean, yeah, but I wouldn't be so honest. I don't know about some of them.
This is crazy. I'm gonna tell you something wild. I have a friend that I've been friends with. He's a year younger than me. He's been dating his girlfriend since 6th grade. He's an Indian kid dating a black girl, and his parents still don't know about it. He's 27 now. She still don't know about it. And they're arranging him to try to get him married to somebody else, and he's constantly like turning down these girls because they're like, oh, how's this girl? And he's like, not.
Who
not
the
my
fuck
thing.
is this person?
So he's hiding it because it's a black girl?
Well, yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Indeed, our experience with granted, limited experience,
very limited,
but based on friends that we have had who were black who were dating Indian women, their families they're not too happy about that.
So
generally speaking.
So the thing
generalization,
is,
of course.
So this is the thing, right? What happens is in Indian, at least in his cult, his aspect, if you're not of the same caste, you can't even really get married.
Oh yeah.
The fact that she's a black person just adds a whole other wrench.
Yeah, you have to have children with your cousins if you want the genes to remain pure.
Exactly,
obviously.
bro. Duh.
If you want your queen to live a really, really, really long time.
Yeah.
You want
Royalty,
Targaryen kids, or you want
incest.
you want Targaryens, or you want Baratheons, bro? We need the same.
Yeah.
How did we get here? I totally forgot.
You were going to say something about
subtly.
not being a cinephile, and then I said other kind of file, and then you started talking about boy band, and then
That's excellent.
This happens a lot, but we
got
were
it.
talking about like our concepts of how movies were made, and like I had a very similar thing with, about video games because when I was younger, I would toy around with like editing. Like I fucked around with like editing software for like when I was like 8 and like still do obviously. So I had like some idea of like what I was seeing and like how it was like fictionalized and how like people would like make things and shoot things to put on. I had some understanding. I still didn't know the studio structure or anything like that. But for video games, no idea. So I fully believed like there were like rumors about like, oh man, in like Halo 2 and in like coagulation, if you go over the hill, there's like another map there that's like secret. And I'm
That's
like,
funny.
what? Like, and I totally
cool.
believed it because like my understanding of video games was like so separate. I thought they were, maybe not actively, but I must have thought they were just like literal pocket dimensions that you would just step into. And it was like magical almost. Because
I was just trying to catch the Mew behind the truck next to the St. Anne. That was a big one.
Was that which one was that?
That was like Pokemon Red and Blue. That was a big rumor.
Yeah.
But it was easier to believe because the missing no was like real. The
Yeah,
missing
yeah,
no
yeah.
was
I caught the
absolutely
missing
real.
no, and
that
it
was fucked up.
fucked my game up. I caught it.
Hell
And
yeah.
I beat the game. I was like, I'm like level 80, everything. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I caught
Infinite
missing
rare
no.
candies.
Game turned into like pixel art. I was just like, this is just
That's awesome.
great.
On some level, I kind of miss, like, obviously not. I wouldn't go back or anything, but I do kind of miss having like some amount of ignorance on these things because I think I just kind of liked things a little bit more, and I don't know, like there was a magic in sort of believing things you'd hear about video games because you just didn't understand them. You know,
I think it shifts my appreciation to different things. I don't think that I'm still able to get into things, but just in a different way from different pieces of media. I wouldn't appreciate my favorite films in the same way that I do. I probably wouldn't really enjoy my favorite films if I had like a really, incomplete understanding of what goes into them. I guess technically everyone's is incomplete.
You're not wrong. I do think though, like sometimes I'll see videos. Well, just it's for me. It's like what even made me think about this in the first place was like I would see videos of kids, right? And they were like maybe like 8 or 9, and they were talking about like, man, this development BioWare really lost their touch. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, oh man, that's so immediately cynical at like so young. Like,
it's like you never knew the good BioWare. I barely knew
you're being raised on YouTubers now.
Yeah. So like they hear like YouTube, and they have like a deep, and it's kind of cool. It's interesting because they have a way deeper understanding of these things than I did when I was a kid. But at the same time, it's like
everywhere talking about this shit.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like a lot of that amazement that got me into these things in the first place is kind of absent. Like there's a feeling of wonder with certain things that like, okay, you get to pick them apart later on, but I feel like that's kind of not present anymore because the second you're old enough to really absorb content and like fully understand it, it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz with like the curtains kind of gone, and you know that there's some bastard at the top of your favorite game.
You know what's crazy?
I just feel like my expectations are higher, and I feel like AAA gaming has gotten worse because of a lot of corporate aspects at play. But on the plus side, independent gaming has never been better. Like all the best games of the year are all indie games. Like the fucking Minecraft was an indie game, you know, like Undertale, and they're all doing successfully just because of self-publishing with video games and also marketing with video games. Most of your audience is going to be using the internet. You can self-market on YouTube. You can promote your game that way. And if it's good and if you have a cool trailer, and it can just get big on Reddit, and that's that. Whereas with films, there's still so much more of a gap in terms of being like a studio production, being able to sell and get your ideas out to people without that sort of intervention. Doing that independently is a lot more difficult with film as an art form, but for music and for games, it's like never been better as independent artists. It's still never been better for films, but it's not the same level quite.
It's a different
in terms of being able to distribute your film. Because like Joel Haver's making independent films and just posting them on YouTube. He's not doing he's not doing like the festival circuit or anything. And that's great, but it's missing a lot of the audience, a lot of the market there. There's still kind of a weird gap in terms of like how people consider legitimacy for self-publishing on YouTube, which is something that like literally anyone can do, versus like having your movie be in a theater. And so it's not getting recognized in the mainstream in the same way.
It's like less of a generational. I kind of think of it as like the jump between, PS1 and PS2 is pretty substantial, but like the most recent generation is not that crazy of a leap. So like
which is why they're all selling their games on PC now. It's because consoles are becoming like hard to justify.
Yeah.
At least the price range of them is just like why would I buy this when I can get a computer, buy small parts of it, keep it up forever instead of buying this punk of thing that will be obsolete eventually, you know, like in its entirety.
Well, you can just like upgrade the graphics card in your computer, but with consoles, like the average console life was 6 years. Just as the console itself, but over time, because the rate of improvement in technology and graphical capabilities has been so exponential, like it's going up faster and faster. Now consoles have done a very sneaky thing where they won't release a new console after 3 years, but they'll release a 0.5, and it's like, okay, you're just using that. You released a new console, but you're using the same user interface. You're like, you've released a new console, but you're just not calling it the PS5. And you're saying like, oh no, we're still keeping up with PCs, but it's like, okay, well, how many times are you going to do this where you're just adding like these incremental things without calling it a new console?
That
okay,
that PS3 360 generation was so long, unusually long, because the economy got really fucked. Like that was like that was what I would, because even towards the end of that generation, you could tell like things were chugging. You know, it wasn't great. I mean, we got some great stuff, obviously. But those machines, it is crazy to me that just from a hardware perspective, that games even remotely as good looking as they were ran on hardware like 512 megabytes of RAM powered The Last of Us. That's fucking sick. That's insane. And I think
wild.
I don't know, like I have a soft spot for consoles still, just because like there's something nice about a dedicated piece of plastic with like that opening experience is still nice. But I'm also like a bit of a collector with that shit.
And also things just work more simply. Sometimes
they're more
it's
reliable.
difficult to get games to like run properly on PCs. And then, if it's an old game, like you're fucked.
Oh my God. You ever tried streaming an old game on Steam? It's a nightmare.
You know what's actually fucked? A friend of mine told me recently that the original BioShock, which I adore, but the original BioShock was recently updated out of nowhere, and now it's just totally broken. Like random update. Yeah, just random update
funny.
like 10 years later. I think they put in like a store. Or it might have been BioShock Infinite. I'm not super sure, but it was one of them. And just randomly, like recently.
Oh no, it's 2. It's 2.
It's 2?
It's BioShock 2.
Oh,
if you look at the reviews,
then who cares?
People are like, but people are like, what the fuck happened? I always, you know, I look at reviews before I buy things because I just want to make sure. Because it's not even, I know the game is good. How does it run? And that's the big thing. Because I've bought in some shit on accident, not knowing that there was controller support. You know, I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. Mass Effect
and I was
PC
like,
doesn't have it.
Fuck. And then you have to go through the hoops of trying to download some fucking some type of software that'll actually be compatible
what's
for
amazing,
your
What's amazing
controller.
to me is that, like, I mean, because sometimes I do think, like, is this, like, am I just too nostalgic? Like, we were talking about how AAA stuff lately is just objectively worse.
Yes.
But then sometimes I think it's like, was it? Like, am I, like, because, like, sometimes I feel like maybe I just buy, because I don't want to seem like the old man who's like, things were better when I was a kid. But I really do feel like they, like, objectively
they were.
They
had to be
that's why I
they
say
were.
AAA and not games in general.
Yeah.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the types of games that are worse, not games overall.
Oh, yeah.
It's the cape. I remember the turning point for me, for example. I just don't remember buying games new back in the day, especially when I was a kid. Right, you had to be fucking careful. Otherwise, you got to recall back a lot of shit, just a lot of hardware. That's kind of a really fucked up thing to do. Versus now, where everybody can rush anything out and patch it. So it was like obviously different.
Yeah.
Because people tried hard because they had to try to get it right because they didn't have that.
There was no
fucking
internet to
capability.
like unbug or unfuck a game.
Like, look at fucking I couldn't believe I heard enough, and I'm sure you know all about it, Chris. But fucking just looking at the new Saints Row. You know, you already heard it was rushed, but I did deep dives into it, and I couldn't believe it was so much worse than I thought it was, and it really upset me because I really loved Saints Row 3. So it was kind of like, oh, I'm glad they brought it back, and then never mind.
You know
it just looked like,
oops.
What's up?
You know what's especially weird about Saints Row? They had like, there was a thing recently, or I guess obviously recently because the game came out, but there was like this whole thing, like I think before the game came out, how like they were taking like a different approach, and obviously this got a lot of people kind of like, oh, it's all woke and shit, and it's, you know, it's you're always gonna see that shit. But what confused me the most was like they changed it was like a business in the game that was called like Rim Jobs, and it was like where you would go to get your fucking cars reset, which I always thought was like, it's, you know,
Yeah, it's a little funny.
they changed it to Gym Robs. Which
Why?
like isn't even a. Yeah, that's what confused me because
To
it's not even
whose benefit.
right. It's not like a slur. It's not like
It's not like
offensive.
gendered even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
That's literally the point of the joke. It's a pun. That's the point.
right. Well,
It is a pun.
It's a joke, and it's just an adult joke
In
at
an
the expense
adult
of
game.
no one.
In an adult
such
game.
a
Is it
weird.
is the new game rated teen or what?
Let me see.
It feels like it is.
Let me see.
I
mean,
mean,
they
decide to not
they took out
do
the
rated
dildo
M?
bat, which was
Yeah, like
people-
Saints Row 3 had a dildo bat. Like, what? Like, what?
Yeah, check the rating because that would explain all that.
It's just
If it's
giving
still
me, like,
rated M,
reviews.
then like why?
I think it is still rated M.
It's the nature of the
It,
beast, man.
it has to be. It has to be.
Is it? What the fuck?
The biggest thing that I noticed about the game was the font. I was like, oh,
It is rated
I know,
M.
So
What the
why?
which is interesting, right? But didn't you notice the font of the game, right? I was like, I know exactly who they're fucking appealing to.
What do you mean, the
When
font?
you look at the font of Saints Row, it looks like fucking Fortnite.
Oh, well,
Uh-oh.
yeah,
I was
but like everything's
oh,
kind of
no.
Fortnite now.
Not really.
A
Not
lot of
everything
things,
looks like
a lot of things are Fortnite now.
Fortnite has affected
Like,
the game community in a
just
monumental
even
way.
even like the way the game looks. Now the game's always had somewhat of a, but this even the glossiness to it. I'm like, it looks like more of the game is not advertised towards like I think it's advertised towards teenagers around 16, 17. This is what it looks like they're trying to go for that fucking market.
It's an
not
art
for
style.
nec-
There's definitely an art style trend happening, and I think it's. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's inherently bad, but it's definitely like oversaturated. How many things? Like sometimes I'll tune into one of these like directs or like the state of plays, and just everything looks the fucking same Also, like,
Yeah.
I've noticed recently that there was a recent State of Play where there were just like basically like 5 open world like Japanese kind of feudal Japan games, and I'm like, oh, because Ghost of Tsushima was big
Ghost
and
did
Sekiro
so
was big.
well.
And it seems like things don't get greenlit in the way that they used to. It feels like things used to get made because like, okay, we'll make it. But now it's like, oh, that was successful. Let's greenlight that now.
The business
there was
aspect
more
of things, man.
risk taking.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna make
Right.
it's considered a risky business investment to do something that's not a ripoff. Same goes for movies in terms of like big studio films. Like movies have not gotten worse in the sense that the overall quality of films is just like so much worse. Like maybe you can make a debate for it, but I feel like just like AAA games, like studio films have gotten worse. Like if you want to look, if you want to find the good shit, you got to go for like independent or smaller studio
You
productions.
gotta go outside the box, you gotta.
Yeah, like A24 and like Neon, like they actually allow some level of risk taking with their directors, and a lot of their films are fantastic. Some are shit, but whatever, right? Whereas, gigantic Hollywood, Disney productions, it's considered a risky business investment to do something that isn't just existing off of a previous IP or just a ripoff, and it's kind
that
of
happens.
It sucks.
That happens a lot too. A lot of things are pitched and they're like, "This is good," but what if this was in the Alien universe?
What if this was
a
still
Cloverfield
game?
movie?
That Cloverfield movie made no sense.
Which one? The
That was-
Paradox?
Like I didn't see Paradox. the one of
10
the one with
Cloverfield Lane?
10
10 Cloverfield Lane.
That was
like I don't.
I've never been that confused by the ending of a movie in a long time, bro. Because he was right.
The ending was just thrown in by J.J. Abrams. The movie existed before it was a Cloverfield movie, and they made it a Cloverfield movie. And J.J. Abrams was like, "Okay, well, let's fuck up the ending." That's
It was
literally
so
what
funny
happened.
because he was right. I was just like, this guy. This is just a crazy moment. This is just someone being crazy, right? And then he was right at the end, and I was like, what the hell?
It does feel, but you can feel it. That's that. What I love about that movie specifically, and I don't really like that movie at all. But like to me, it's like what I love about that movie is like you can actually feel the moment where it shifts.
Yeah,
you can actually feel the moment
where
it
JJ stepped in.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'll take the rest from here.
Like because it looks entirely different too. Even just like the way it's. I mean, I guess
it's
it has
dumb.
to, but it's so dumb and
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Isn't that weird? You know what it
What?
reminds me of? I've been doing this recently. I got really lazy, so I just shot like all of my ads just sitting down, just in one like. All right, and then if it and then I'm just cutting it up and then just throwing it in fucking whatever video. So then it just the jump cut is so unnatural and kind of like probably even like whoa to people. So I'm like
That's
I'm
funny.
sitting lower and my cadence is lower, and then all of a sudden, but before we do, and it just kind of like I just gotten so fucking lazy recently. Usually I just this adds for this video, so it transitions well, but I'm just like I don't fucking care anymore, dude. So it's one of those things where it's like you're being obviously lazy, and I feel like it's weird though at like a company where there's so much money invested that how does JJ step onto here and then he's like, all right, I'm going to do this, but then there's no, you don't follow the formula of the movie itself. You just fucking do it. Like, how does that happen? How does that allowed to be like greenlit or something, or that at the editing when
That's
it's finished,
the only
like, okay,
reason
I'm
it was
done.
allowed to be greenlit. Is the problem? It wouldn't be greenlit if it wasn't a Cloverfield movie. They wouldn't have given it money.
the very valuable
That's true.
Cloverfield
Okay.
IP that everybody.
Yeah.
What the
Everybody
like,
loves. Everybody knows and loves, man. Cloverfield. That movie about this giant, I don't know, fucking chupacabra that came out the fucking ocean and beat up New York. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
I thought it was just like a continuation of Godzilla in like '98 or something. I don't know. I didn't get it. I didn't
God,
fucking watch it.
that '98 Godzilla with the Chad chin.
Oh yeah, the huge chin.
I like that movie, but I know I like it because I saw it when I was little.
You're the only one. I saw it when
This
it
one?
came out.
Why do you have that within arm's
Yes.
reach?
On hand.
That is fucking fantastic.
It just happened to be right in front of me, actually.
That is insane.
I can imagine there's like a treasure trove of movies in front of me. You're just waiting for references. Be like, this one.
No, there's just 10 copies of that shit in front of them specifically.
I've always
like
got
you've-
one ready.
You look like you've got
yeah,
a
dude.
fucking crazy collection too behind you.
And
Do you- I
and
mean,
there's
that's only, like-
more.
Oh,
It
that's
turns-
so sick.
Jeez, that's
it's very
cool.
space efficient.
That's
Oh,
very
badass.
cool.
That's
Yeah,
badass.
it fits a lot more than the other shelf that I used to have here. That was just took up so much more space.
That's an
this is
awesome
much more
fucking
efficient.
idea.
Yeah.
Adam, how
A
many
lot-
movies
one of
do you
those
think you've
rows,
watched?
one of those rows
actually?
looks like you just have a lot of 2Ks, and NBA 2Ks. It's just a row of NBA 2Ks.
No.
All of them. He bought every single one. I own every single NBA 2K game.
Wouldn't that be like a fucking crazy video? Like, so there's some people that get like 8 million views being like Shay Frillis was like, I ranking every DreamWorks movie. Could you imagine someone being like, I'm ranking every 2K sports game? Like,
I fucking watch
that
it too,
would,
though.
that would be,
One.
it would not only take forever, but it would be impossible because the online servers aren't supported for a lot of the older ones. So you're
That's
not really
very
getting
true.
the experience anymore.
That'd be wild.
You're
every
100%
single
right
one.
about that.
How do you?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember before? Was it before? It must have been before the pandemic. Just before the when Cats was patched.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny.
That was amazing.
Patching movies. Yeah, that sounded like something
amazing.
dystopian that would never actually happen, and then it happened.
Yeah.
They patched
It's-
a movie.
It's,
What movie?
Disney's been doing that actually in between
movie
like
they patch
theatrical
again?
and Disney Plus releases. Actually, they've been like patching some of the effects and stuff.
oh, really? For Disney? For like?
Yeah,
What do you
of
mean? Like
course
for
they
like?
have.
Well, I guess it
For
doesn't
movies
surprise-
for movies that get a theatrical release and then later get on Disney Plus. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it for ones that start out on Disney Plus and then just patch them later.
Did they
I
patch?
think they did. I think I heard something recently about like Netflix patching something out of season or patching something into season 1 of Stranger Things so that it would
Weird.
be like so that
More-
because they
more
did some
consistent with the
retconning.
other
Obviously,
shit?
they did like
Oh,
a
wow.
little bit of they did some light retconning.
They
and I
patched-
saw that and I was
That's
like,
sad. Actually, I'm a big fan of like media preservation. So
me too.
Yeah,
yeah.
very
You shouldn't
sad.
alter it.
That bothers me immensely.
What do you think they did? What do you
just
think
give
they
the
did?
option.
I think
Just
they added.
patch it however you want, but give the option to watch the original.
Yeah, I think what they did was that I think they added the clock sound or something to certain scenes that didn't have them, or like something weird like that. I saw like something about it, or like a comparison. I was like, oh, it's interesting.
Do you think?
But-
do you think they patched all of the Black Panther stuff out of Infinity War in China? Like all of it. Like
Yeah,
they
probably.
don't go to Wakanda. They go to like Bethlehem, or they go to like the Eiffel, the Great
amazing.
Wall, or something like that.
I don't know, man. That wouldn't surprise me.
Jerusalem.
That would be that would actually be so dystopian if like
I
you
would
just saw a different
love
version of a
that.
movie and it was just straight up different locations because that country is just too racist.
That would be so
so
funny.
fucked,
That'd be
dude.
terrible. That'd be like a really bad sign. That means that like corporations are literally just sucking dick anywhere
Oh,
they
yeah,
can get money. But like it'd be so funny to see like, yo, where's this character? That was a huge plot point. Oh, they don't exist.
Did you ever see the Chinese release of like MCC Halo?
Oh, I saw I know there was a Russian one that I played a little bit, but I didn't know there was a Chinese.
I think there was a Chinese one where it was like you don't have gore in it, and I think some
What?
speedrunners were using it because like they didn't load as many textures or some weird shit. Like I have no idea.
Oh, interesting.
But there's
Wait,
a Chinese version
so like
of
the flood won't like pop or something because there's not much gore in Halo.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so weird. That's so
Yeah,
interesting.
there's a video on it. It's interesting.
I didn't know about that.
Mm.
Oh my god. At least, well, yeah. I don't know. To me, the movie, the preservation of media as far as movies goes, like that's been that didn't used to bother me until I tried to get the original. Was it Evil Dead? I can't remember if it was Evil Dead 1 or 2.
I'm so mad at that one. I hate that one.
It's a very frustrating one because it's very Lucas. It like they just sort of like they fixed a lot of things that I actually like. I don't know. Like I think they add. There's something nice about like I saw something recently. I mean, not to defend like Amazon or nothing or like whatever show this was, but like I saw like a screenshot of either Rings of Power or the other fucking Game of Thrones. I don't know. I can't tell the difference. I haven't seen
Sure.
it. But it was like a screenshot of this woman standing in front of a crowd and like she's talking to a crowd and like there's like some repeat people in the crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
And like to me,
Twins.
it's like that. Okay, like that's fine to me because that's just like basic. You know, you're not supposed to sit.
If
and,
you
like,
don't
pause.
notice when you're watching it, then whatever. It's just an interesting thing about how they did the movie. or
right. But
show,
knowing
I
that
guess.
like. Not that this, whatever show this is, has as much merit as Evil Dead, but like I know that that's at some point. It's like I wouldn't be surprised. Like, oh, we're gonna patch that out or something. It's like no, it's like leave things
as they were. There's something cute. There's something really cool about seeing the moon obviously be like a cutout matte thing in the fucking Evil Dead, because it feels approachable. It makes movie making feel like a possibility.
They recorded several commentary tracks for the original cut of Evil Dead, so for the original DVD. And Bruce Campbell actually won like an award for his commentary track. I forget what publication gave him this award, but it's like one of the funniest fucking things in the world. It like, honestly, if you like Evil Dead even somewhat, listen to the Bruce Campbell solo commentary track on the DVD before the Blu-ray came out. And now, for like the newer versions, they re-recorded the commentary tracks because it doesn't work anymore. Because in the original, he was pointing out like, oh, and here's where you can see this. There's Rob Tappert hiding in the bushes, and this was actually nighttime if you notice there, and blah blah blah.
That's
and he was
crazy.
like, yeah, and it was a great commentary track because it was informational about how they made it, and it was funny at the same time. And he was like poking fun at the technical limitations they had at the time. And so the new commentary tracks they recorded, it's just like no energy, and they're clearly just like ignoring all of the shit from like the actual real cut of the movie.
There's a thing. Look over
it's
there.
So
there's
pathetic.
Thing.
Yeah, it's so
lame.
disgusting. Honestly, I hate it.
I loved
Sam
commentary.
Raimi's fault.
Honestly, I just love commentary tracks in general. Like you got a lot of value for your money when you got like a DVD with like a movie and a commentary track, because they would always show like, oh, that scene was actually like reversed. We didn't actually do that. And it was like all this stuff. It's like, oh, all of this is like cheating. Like they didn't actually do all of this like insane shit. Because when you're a kid, you just sort of think like, wow, Spider. They really got Tobey Maguire to spin around in a fucking on a strand in the middle of New York. No, obviously, but it's cool to hear how that shit gets put together.
Yeah, particularly Spider-Man 1's commentary. That's one that stuck out to me really, really hard. I remember it to this day. Because I remember for some reason, I ended up on a commentary version of it when I was like, maybe like 11. And I was like, I guess I'm watching this. And it was really insightful.
It's very easy to accidentally fall, like, because it's like an audio setting.
Yeah. Well, no, there's usually, for me, I remember there may have been a version where they said like commentary or something like that. And I didn't know what the fuck it was.
There are, but I remember specifically on some DVD, it might not be all of them, but like I remember a lot of my interactions with commentary tracks was like accidentally switching between like dubs, basically. So English, and then it would be like English commentary. So like I would accidentally like turn the commentary on. I was like, "What's the fuck is this?" Yeah, I love it when they do it with video games too. I think Left 4 Dead had a really cool interactive one that I thought was like really fucking interesting. But a lot of it is just them talking about cheating.
Oh yeah,
and
Valve
just making
commentary tracks are cool.
They're very, very interesting. Yeah. I wish I understood game stuff. Yeah,
that's where I learned like most of what I know about it. Like that's what shaped my understanding of films, is just listening to commentary tracks and watching like featurettes on DVDs. Like you're hearing it from the artists themselves. Like what better resource is there,
honestly,
than to hear the artists themselves talk about their creative process. Yeah, like it's invaluable.
It's super useful. It gives you the idea of what they do. Then it gives you an impression about how you may want to do it, because obviously most people copy other people. We don't do it with intention to plagiarize. But if you appreciate how somebody does something, obviously you're going to take some sort of thing from them to help you get better at what you're doing until you find your own way of doing it.
I would argue the best way to learn is honestly by copying.
Well, of course.
At least at first. Like that's definitely like when I was first started on YouTube, I was definitely like copying like a lot of like machinima people and like just to figure shit out.
And then just find your own style from there. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're still copying in your like 80s or something, if you're Shia LaBeouf and you're plagiarizing freestyles for no fucking reason,
no
it's a bit of a
goddamn reason.
Yeah, compulsively.
I
would love to see a Eminem versus Shia LaBeouf freestyle. That'd be sick.
What if he tears him apart? What if Shia LaBeouf tears Eminem apart?
If he learns all of his freestyles and like doesn't even respond to what Eminem's doing, it could work.
What if Shia plagiarizes Eminem while he's doing it?
That would be fucking legendary.
What he does is Eminem spits his verse, and then Shia LaBeouf spits the same verse right back at him, and you're like,
that actually would be
the hell?
Incredibly impressive. Like, wow, like your memory is fucking.
That's your power. That's your power. You can memorize better than anyone else.
The ultimate plagiarist.
That's what you can do. You can plagiarize better than anyone I've ever seen in my life, Shai. This is what you do. You got to copy.
Yeah.
That's like a Limitless type movie of just some like some guy who's just like he's the best plagiarist in this side of the Eastern Seaboard. He can't be competed with.
And it's like, is that impressive? Wait till you see it. Just wait till you see it happen in person. Change your whole mind.
Speaking of child stars, talking about child stars right now, I just wanted to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Have you seen, and maybe you saw this, it was a while ago, but it came up again, Zac Efron's chin?
What?
Yeah, he's been modified.
Have you seen Zac Efron's chin?
Has he? I have no idea. Has he gotten plastic surgery or what?
So I think any person who's not completely brain dead would say yes, but he denies it because in 2014, this is so long ago. In 2014,
oh my God, what happened? He looks like what the hell? He looks like a Mad TV impersonation, like
he looks
like a caricature.
Alec Baldwin.
He
looks like. Do you remember that guy? This is very specific.
That's weird.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is me misremembering what this guy looked like. Do you remember fucking Ty Pennington from that fucking
move that bus?
Extreme Makeover Home Edition, where they would go to families in need and they would remodel their houses and then force them to pay incredibly high taxes so they would be evicted out of the neighborhood.
Like every fucking show ever. Here's your free shit, except for pay all the taxes.
Here's your free car. Now you have to pay off this $3 million car. And it's like, I never wanted that.
I Pimp My Ride. Remember Pimp My Ride? Same shit.
Did you ever see that interview with Exhibit going like, you didn't see me holding a single tool on that show. I don't know what the fuck was going on. Have you seen that?
That's from a comedy show. I forgot what it's from. You're right though. It's from a comedy show. He's like, I didn't touch shit. I was there getting a paycheck.
I mean, plastic surgery is whatever. Honestly,
I had no idea about this Zac Efron thing, and I'm still looking up images. Like, if there was ever a time to spark one of those, like, this celebrity got replaced by a different person.
Yeah, like Avril
Lavigne. Like, he looks completely different.
Yeah, there's certain photos of him where he looks like the troll face a little bit, and it's like really. Yeah. It's a little off-putting.
He looks.
So you know what's the interesting thing about this? It's actually kind of sad. So obviously he got some work done, and it's noticeable and it looks bad. He's done 2 interviews. One of them they talked about it. He's dismissed, saying that he broke his jaw. There was some swelling, different muscles that came over. It doesn't make any sense because he's only recently looked like this. He's only looked like this for a year or 2, and he broke his jaw back in 2014. So it makes 0 sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
He did an interview recently. And because he was promoting something, I forgot, like a movie or whatever the fuck he's doing, and somebody who's working with him sitting right next to him, an older guy. And the interviewer, this lady, asked about the jaw, and then just you had to dispel the rumors, blah, blah, blah. And then the guy sitting next to him, the old guy, which you can tell really bothered Zach, he said, yeah, if he got work done, you think he'd look like that? Just insinuating that he looks like shit.
Oh, no.
That's so mean.
Sad.
That's really
And I was
fucked.
like, ooh.
That's so
Yeah,
wow.
this is obviously a disfigurement, idiot.
That's why I was like, fuck, dude. And then the lady was like, oh, you're just kind of stirring the pot.
He was obviously
aren't
hit
you?
by a bus.
There's something about plastic surgery. I don't know, like, I understand if, like, people are living with, like, an actual, like, deformity and want to, like, get rid of that, but there's something so bizarre about how people view themselves and how much of an illusion that is. Like, no one has a real accurate version of how they appear to other people. And so you see countless examples of people going down this weird sort of cycle of repetitive plastic surgery modifications till, like, some people, like, literally look like a horror character or something, like something terrifying. And it's like, in some ways I almost feel bad for being like, okay, like, what do you think that looks good? Or like, it's bizarre.
I get that feeling too.
It's self-perception, because it's like, I've seen, like, me and one of my friends, we constantly send each other videos of, like, people that have been, like, augmented in ways that look bizarre to us. But what happens is that it's just people's perception of them. Like, I think initially, if you're going to get work done, for me personally, I'm ignorant because I've never got any work done, but you have to have a decent sense of self-perception, at least a decent side, because it's so easy once you go under the knife once to change yourself to just keep doing it until you get to that perfect.
Do you think it's like an addictive thing?
Of course.
100%
I think that's
for
one
some
of the
people,
sides.
yeah.
I mean, that's
one
a
of the
part
sides
of
is
it.
addiction. One of them is the other one. It's just like so I've talked about this before, my body dysmorphia. It's not the worst, but it exists in a way that I remember when I was 180 pounds, and I'm just like, fuck, man, thinking that I'm pretty fat, like, fuck, I gotta get this off, whatever. And now I'm sitting at like 225, a lot of muscle, but still a lot of fat. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I used to think I was fat looking at 2016 pictures of me. Like, it's fucking wild, bro. Like, just how much your brain just fucks with you.
Yeah,
I mean,
it can get some, but then there's some people that consider themselves as pieces of, as like genuine pieces of art where they want to augment themselves so they look fine for them. Because it's not for every, obviously, like, a lot of people, it's for people to be like, oh, I want people to look at me and view me in this, like, very good light.
If it
but
makes
then
them
there's other
happy,
people that are just like, I want to be where I think I'm fine. I don't feel like that's often the case, but that is the case at times.
Yeah, it's also just a matter of, like, I mean, I've known people who, like, I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah, there are people I know, too, that would never
like, but then
guess.
there are some people who it's, like, incredibly obvious. And even just without having known them first, you know what I mean? Without even having a point of comparison, it's like, oh, that's clearly not what a human being looks like. You know, and I feel bad about it sometimes because I do think like, you know, but I don't know. I can't say that I would ever. It's not something that is particularly the idea of going into surgery at all is not appealing.
Yeah, isn't there some like risk of complication every time? Like
every time, like you could die at any point.
Could just be doing it for like pure vanity rather than like a necessary.
Yeah, it's not my thing. My grandmother used to do cardiac surgeries, not like cosmetic surgeries. So it was very different.
She performed them, you mean?
Yeah, she used to work
like a doctor.
She used to work in there, and she was just like, like it's nothing. It's nothing like somebody coming in for something minor, and then that's it. Yeah. Go tell the family. Yeah. Nurse, go tell the family. Yeah. You do.
Yeah.
Their insurance is insane, bro.
For cosmetic surgery, you know, you have to, most insurances obviously won't cover that stuff. So if you end up dying, you paid for someone to kill you, essentially.
Yeah.
They didn't mean to kill you, but that's basically like, all right, here's the bill, here's the surgery bill, here's the anesthesia bill, and then whoops, that shit fucking
don't even
killed
get me
you.
Started. Healthcare in this country is a fucking joke.
That's pretty
wild.
cool.
Canada's healthcare is getting like worse as time goes on.
Are you in Canada?
Adam? I am in Canada. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were Canadian.
Yeah. Yeah, we need some major revamping, but it's all done like provincially, and so like things have kind of just like been left relatively unchecked to such a degree where it's like, okay, we should have probably been addressing some of these issues like 10 years ago. And like, yeah, it's great, everyone's covered, but like there's, you know, it's in BC or Ontario, it's like very difficult to find like a family doctor sort of thing. Like doctors are underpaid for what they're doing, and we could use a bit more funding in that and a bit better infrastructure. Can't complain too hard, you know, knowing a lot of people from the U.S. where it's like,
you just look
down. They tell me about a thing. I'm like, oh, you should get that checked out. You should go to the doctor. They're like, but it costs money. I'm like, don't you have insurance? They're like, no, it costs money with insurance. I'm like, what? You still have to pay like $80 just to go to the doctor and have them say like, drink some orange juice.
Dude, my insurance rails me every month, bro. Every month. But I have to have it because if I don't have it, then I know as soon as I don't have it, I'm getting shot. I can feel it.
Yeah, it is. It does feel like kind of a luxury to just be able to like go to any doctor in the city and just like show up and not just show them like my healthcare card and that's it and not pay anything.
I remember I got treated for something in Canada. I can't remember how long ago this was. And I remember I was just baffled.
Autism?
Yeah, probably. In all likelihood. But I remember like, I was like, wait a minute. I didn't understand. This is a long, long time ago. And I didn't understand the concept of like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's not, this isn't expensive? What are you saying? Like it and it's funny because like when I was younger, I used to have the exact opposite assumption. Like when I would see an ambulance.
The propaganda machine worked?
Well, it's just the reality set in where it's like, oh fuck, keeping yourself healthy is like expensive. But like when I was a kid, you'd see like, I don't know, I would see like the police truck or the police car, the fire truck, and the ambulance, and I would always assume like, oh yeah, those are, you know, public utility vehicles. Like you don't pay the police to show up, you don't pay for the fucking fire department to show up. You don't pay for an ambulance to show up. And then my parents they got into a car accident, like a crazy one, like Looney Tunes, fucking insane. And then they came back, like they were in the hospital for a little bit, and they came back, and they're like, yeah, we just got the ambulance bill. It's $3,500 to drive us about, I think, like 4 miles to the
Most
hospital.
expensive taxi ever.
Fucking insane. Yeah, that's what I said. It's like,
Yeah, just call
Dude,
an
I say-
Uber instead of an ambulance.
No, that's what I said. I was like,
I
bro,
literally
if I
did that
if
one
I
time.
break my if I break my leg or something, if I'm in dire straits, man, I'm Uber. I'm a million%, and I'm not
Yeah.
even like strapped for cash or anything. But it's just like, why the fuck? What am I gonna spend $3,000? Fuck, I know
Bro.
the value of $1.
I'm having my
fucking
baby.
insane.
I'm having my baby in my house, and then I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
right?
there and give the papers
Fucking
because
birth-
that's
Yo,
it.
there's-
Look,
they
birth
charge
Yeah,
costs
us
so
all the
much money,
Republicans
bro.
complaining about fucking white birth rates. It's like, why don't you just make people's lives a bit easier? Maybe they'll have kids. Like Jesus.
Yeah.
It's exactly
Nope,
that.
Can't do it.
Exactly,
How
yeah.
much is it to hold your baby?
I forgot. It's like a crazy amount of money.
The,
It is like-
the holding your own baby fee.
I'm not even
That's
kidding.
extra.
It is
that DLC?
It is a.
It is.
It's a microtransaction.
You gotta
It's-
get your V-Bucks, bro. Yeah, absolutely.
I
How much to
remember
give
reading
birth in
something.
California? Let's see.
Yeah.
Average.
It's more than it should be.
$26,000.
What the fuck?
But here's the weird thing.
Keep
So,
that motherfucker,
but usually,
bro.
usually your insurance will cover most of it, and you'll end up having to pay like $5,000
Cover
or something.
what though? That's what I mean. It's like it's
No, but see,
fake.
like it's
all
still
fake
absurd.
bullshit.
No, I totally agree with you because they literally artificially inflate prices because they can, because we
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
allow
It's a
them
scam.
to. Right, we allow them to by not doing anything, and the problem is what I hate is like how we only talk about how dumb people are. They are so easily convinced that like, oh,
Yeah.
this is better for you. I remember
American
my
exceptionalism.
it's absolutely. I remember in 2014 when affordable healthcare was passed, right? And I was like, let's see what happens, because I was content as an adult just going to clinics because on average they were like $30 to $35. Just go to a clinic. Luckily, I had not been in a thing where I needed to go to the emergency room or I needed like something dire. Just clinics were fine. I have an infection or whatever. $30 plus the $5 for the medicine or whatever. Affordable healthcare passes. Not only am I required to get healthcare, which I was upset as an American. I really felt American at the time. Like, you're trying to make me do something? So I took the penalty, which in hindsight, I shouldn't have, because it was $600.
Yeah.
It was a $600 fucking penalty for not having insurance. Literally had to pay money to not have insurance.
That's also amazing,
Very
by the
funny.
way.
Yeah, that's
That's
tax-
also-
when
that's
taxes
also-
happen. That happens too. If you don't have insurance
yeah,
during
they
taxes,
literally
bro,
charged me $600
Charge you
for
for
not
that
having
shit, bro.
insurance. I'm like, that is
Do what I want.
insane.
Yeah, bro, you
That's-
gotta-
that's-
I make sure, bro. I make sure before I get into that, before March rolls in, bro, I make sure my insurance is looking crispy, bro. Crispy. Just
Dude,
so I don't have to get
after
fucked over.
After that, I still was like, all right, whatever. I paid it, fine. I went to a clinic one time before because I had my wisdom teeth would destroy my gums and it got infected. And I was like, yeah. Do you have insurance? And I'm like, no, it's a clinic. I thought it shouldn't be that much. Like, $200. I was like, wait, what's the point? There's no point of clinics anymore. It's the same as if you walked into a Kaiser Permanente or something.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking price walking in without insurance. And I was just flabbergasted that essentially it got to the point where finally a biller, and I had to go to the emergency room because I had these mitral valve prolapse, and a biller was like, we'll give you emergency medical insurance, and then you have 30 days to get insured. And when I went, they gave me some government insurance, which was like, say, the insurance that like Canadians and most of the world experience, where they don't pay anything. And they don't get the best insurance, but they're not paying anything. So, and at the point where, because I was broke as fuck at that time, I got let go from my job because I kept having panic attacks and they had to let me go. And long story short, I had since then made normal amounts of money, and I would report my money to them and they wouldn't change anything. And I'm just like, bro, what is happening? I don't understand this. And why doesn't everybody have this? I was making, above the poverty line, and there was still zero. And I would tell people, look into, it's called Cal Optima. I would say, look into this. Maybe you can get away with not going fucking broke when you need a major surgery or you need something. Because I was paying $0. My wisdom teeth pulled out, optometry, anything. I was paying no money.
I just love that if you can't afford insurance, your penalty is that you're fined. like just to make it like. It's so fucking
there's a tax on being
in California,
poor.
it's easy to get. In California, it's relatively easy to get insurance. Very general, basic,
relative, yeah.
basic insurance.
You're absolutely right about that, Adam. The tax is being poured on everything. Everything you do, as far
Overdraft
as
fees.
you get deals, overdraft fees. If you spend more money, let's say for a gym membership, if you have enough money to pay for in bulk in a year, you save money versus the month thing. Like it just everything you get fucked for being poor.
It's all
rigging the economy, bribing politicians.
Even just little things like just basically
lobbyists ruining the way that people will be able to choose laws. Like, hey,
even little things to me, like even just like the way that ticketing works.
Oh yeah.
Like when Justin Bieber is like speed racing through the fucking streets of Los Angeles and like almost like running over pregnant people, like maybe he shouldn't pay like a $150 fucking ticket,
Yeah.
Maybe that
exactly.
should be
Right.
maybe that should scale a little bit.
To actually affect them,
The Guinness World Record holder for the most expensive speeding ticket was like some millions of dollars because it was in a different country, like a European country where it was proportional to income, and the guy was just like speeding on his motorcycle, but he was like the heir to some like sausage factory or something. And so it was like millions of dollars for the ticket, which makes sense because you want to decentivize people equally. Being rich, it's like, oh, well, I can afford the ticket, so I'm just going to ignore all the laws. Like,
I'm just gonna keep
if
breaking the law.
$400 means nothing to you, what incentive is
Absolutely.
there for you to not break the law? There is none.
It's all.
Did you see
horrible.
people? Did you see people complain about because so King Charles, right? He didn't pay any tax on the inheritance, right, from the Queen, and when it was supposed to be like 40%, and I saw people,
That was bullshit.
and I saw people complaining, not that that's bullshit because it obviously is. They're like, that's so expensive. Why would he even have? And my whole thing is like, that's what you're fucking paying that now.
That's your money.
You're paying. I'm like, you.
They're the biggest welfare queens. Literally.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm getting
Like
heated.
you pay tax dollar money for them to just party and not have to do anything important with their life.
Bewildering.
This is
my God.
accurately. This is genuinely like for real making me so upset. Let's go. Let's go into
If we're
too
gonna
much.
change topics, I'm gonna pee real quick. Is that fine?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
gotcha.
Yeah, that's fine. You're all good.
All right. Yeah. Let's just
Let's mark
We'll make
what
a
time
mark.
it is. Yeah.
No, this is good. Let's just
keep it going?
keep the time. Yeah, let's just keep it going, baby. We don't have to. We'll get into the questions right when he comes back, but we'll end. So how's your guys' days going? You guys having a good day? you guys having a good? Besides,
I'm still in a lot of
how's the internet?
pain. Oh, it's fine now. Yeah, now that I threatened to destroy them, they came.
Excellent.
Which is of course I had to threaten them to do their jobs, which
works for me.
is wonderful.
Works for me
That's
too.
great.
A
I
nice
like that.
threat, man. I'm coming harder than you can believe.
Dude, I did everything. Like I filed a complaint with the FCC, and I think that got their attention because I got a call from somebody who, first of all, no accent. Second of all, had a very clear signal. Like the nicest phone I've ever heard anybody speak through to me. Like wasn't some guy in a call center in India. It was some guy who was like, "Hi, my name's Matt. I'm with Spectrum. I've heard you've had some issues with us, and I just wanted to personally just see how things were going and see if we can get some people out there to really get your shit sorted." And I'm like, "Thank you, my friend."
Yeah, you better.
Hey, let's go.
And it's so fucking sad that you really do have to just
Threaten.
because I try to be nice. I really do. I try to be especially with service people, because like I know that like, oh, I got a stupid parking ticket, so I'm going to go to the courthouse and pay in pennies. That fucking clerk didn't do that to you, Like, and I have like, and so when the people come into your house to fix your internet, it's not like they're not the people.
They're not the ones, right?
So like I try to be as nice as possible, but like I had like 7 fucking technicians come in.
I start
in
slipping
like 3
eventually,
days.
which is horrible. I used to be the nicest, and now it's not like
I
that
was
anymore.
super nice. And so like at that point I was like, hey, listen, I'm going to file a complaint with the FCC. I will pursue legal action. This is getting fucking ridiculous. And then immediately.
What happened?
Let's
my
go.
internet was, I had like this huge fucking fight with my internet company where like my connection would die. Like not just drop in quality, but die every 10 minutes.
Okay,
For
yeah.
a while. And it made it like literally impossible to do any of the things that I have to do. Like I couldn't upload a video. I couldn't do a podcast without dropping in and out constantly. I couldn't upload or render footage it was just like fucking me over until I couldn't stream. So it was just like, and I dealt with this for like a good like 2 weeks, and it was just like I was calling him. I was like, hey, fucking, this is really bad. I'm getting fucked here. And I just had like a bunch of technicians come in, and long story short, I threatened them, and then they finally sent somebody out, and they actually fixed it. So that's the key. You just got to unfortunately, you just have to be a dick. I would rather not.
That is the environment that America breeds. Everybody becomes a worse person by staying there longer.
What? I'm a better person.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's what they all think.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm a better person. I'm way nicer.
Anyway,
nah, man.
Oh, before we got into questions, because I don't think anybody asked about this, but I'm curious about your take on this. What's this movie? Don't Worry, Darling, or whatever the hell.
I am so not like in the conversation for that. I'm loosely aware of the drama behind the scenes.
Have you seen the movie though?
No.
Okay.
It's not I have no reason to see them.
With Olivia Wilde,
maybe
right?
I guess if I reviewed it, then like people would click on the video. I guess maybe I don't know, but like it wasn't on my watch list or anything. So I just
right. Okay.
And it's film festival season right now, and I'm already seeing like fucking 40 other movies.
40, Jesus God.
I would be remiss not to bring that up because it's kind of a.
What's going on with it? What's happening exactly?
I honestly don't know. I think Harry Styles is in it, and there's like some drama involved with like I think he cheated on. Like the director cheated on someone with him or something. I don't know. It's all bullshit.
The director's dating him, right?
It doesn't matter.
I was dating him. Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's move on.
It's very
a flop anyway. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, it's not very.
No one's seeing it.
It's funny because Chris Pines is like, because he had like 2 segments where he was like doing the circuit for that movie. But then while he was doing a circuit for the D&D movie, he was like really excited and like jumping around and being this looks awesome. I can't wait to be a part of this movie. And then for that movie, he's kind of just
quiet. I did see that. That was how I became aware of it because I didn't know anything about it. And then I saw those images of Chris Pine disassociating on the press circuit.
That's funny.
And what is it? I think like Harry Styles like spitting in his lap or something.
Spat on him.
It's very fucking weird. Yeah. And he's just like... Yeah.
There's a bunch of like absolute narcissists and psychopaths working in Hollywood.
So funny. It's so funny seeing how excited he is for one, like an actor being really excited for one position and then just being like, I'm doing this for money in the other one.
That's why I admire Harrison Ford a lot. Like whenever he's up there, he does not like
they're asking him shit about Star Wars. He couldn't care less.
He's like, "How do you feel about Ben Solo? Suck my dick." He just keeps going. He's like,
what he say? He's like, "What the fuck is a Force ghost or some shit?" They asked him a question about things. What the fuck is a Force ghost?
I love that.
Like, that's brilliant.
There's some stuff recently about like. Which is, by the way, a little bit weird that I think Alan Rickman had like a diary that like everybody's like prying open now, which is, a little bit fucked up. Maybe don't do that. But apparently there was like some stuff about him talking about like him like not liking Harry Potter at all, which is like cool. Like,
that's funny.
Isn't that amazing?
That's awesome.
He died ages ago now, and he had a well-aged take. Look at that.
I mean,
nuts.
If I've never liked Harry Potter, and I've always stood on the fact I hated it, and I'm so glad that a lot of people hate it now because I hated it since I was a little kid.
I was never really into it.
I can't stand these kids. I can't stand everybody.
I didn't hate it. I just didn't. I saw the first movie. I think I've probably talked about this on the podcast before, but my mom said you need to read I asked her for a skateboard. She said you got to read a fat book and then write a report on it in 2 weeks, and then I'll buy you a skateboard. The Goblet of Fire came out. I was probably like 11 or some shit or whatever.
So you just started with the middle?
I had no fucking idea. I know my friend when I was in elementary school had the Sorcerer's Stone or whatever, the first one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that looks stupid. And then the Goblet, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to read it. I didn't understand it. I got the skateboard. The movie came out, I think, not soon after the first movie. It was around that time.
2001,
how old are you? You're a little older than I am. So it came out when I was
I'm 34.
7. When I was like 7.
I just remember that that book, and because I remember a lot of things happen around the same time. See if the fourth book was out around the time the first movie was out.
You're not gonna make me do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I saw the first movie. I thought, was like, this is stupid and boring. I also had with magic specifically, it has to be something. It can't. It's like I liked how
Lord of the Rings.
I liked how Doctor Strange dealt with magic. I thought that was fine.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
I thought it was very entertaining.
Yeah, that it comes from other beings. You got to take it from a being to be able to use it. I like that.
Harry Potter seems like they're making up the rules as they go.
Yeah. It just, I was like, dude, I don't like this magic. It just sucked. I didn't like it.
I'm no person to judge Harry Potter because I also like that sense, because I like Star Wars, and Star Wars is legitimately making up the Force as it goes. Like, it's literally the same shit as that. Like, the Force can bring people back sometimes. It can talk to birds. It can shoot lightning. When
the writers start arguing with each other in the same franchise.
You can run real fast with it sometimes.
Wild.
And then you can jump.
That IP, that's such a giant fucking intellectual property, could come to that. You would think that it would be more protected. It's kind of nuts.
You would assume it'd be more protected. Like, for me, I can when I watch something, right? Like, I watch something and I understand its mysticism, I'm able to sit down and be like, this is fine because it's mystic and by nature it doesn't make sense. And I can kind of sit down and be fine with it until things begin to contradict themselves. Then is where I'm a point where I'm like, all right, that doesn't make sense because before it couldn't do this, but now it can do this, you know? Like, for instance, Rey healing Ben at the end of the 9th movie, right? Like,
I didn't see it.
Anakin is the chosen one, was like a living pipe of the Force, and he couldn't heal Padme. How can Rey just do that? So that's like a moment where I cared about.
Well, Rey's existence was just doing shit. Right? Rey's shit was just doing shit that she shouldn't be able to do, so whatever. You know?
So it's like, if she's around, then there's no point anyone dying. It's like, Rey, touch him.
Let me ask you something, Adam. Adam, let me ask you something. Like, so I'm sure I'm assuming you were underwhelmed with, like, any of the latest Star Wars that have come out. You're just like, whatever.
Yeah, I stopped watching at episode 9 is what it was called? That
was the last
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker,
and I don't give a shit about the Disney Plus shows, so I didn't start.
I haven't seen them yet. So I want to ask you this. Do you think this would be a good idea? Because I thought this was the natural thing that was going to happen in the Force Awakens at the very end, where Kylo Ren's about to whoop on Rey, but then she just kind of closes her eyes and starts whooping his ass. I assumed since Han Solo got killed, Luke was finally going to be like, all right, I felt that shit. I shouldn't be like a hermit anymore. I'm going to come over and I'm going to whoop Kylo Ren's ass. Like, didn't it feel like he was going to show up? Did you have that? Did you think that at all? Because I had
no concept of whether or not that was going to show up. I'm not a Star Wars fan at all. I was only like kind of obligatorily. I was watching the films out of obligation at that point because they were just like big in the media cycle, and I was like, I'm not like, I don't like the first ones either. I'm just very, not that I like hate them. It's just so uninteresting to me.
I feel you though, man, because I always say that I understand that the people from back in the day who grew up with them when it first came out, it was probably absolutely astonishing. Like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Me watching them in the 90s as a kid and having some other sci-fi that was kind of coming out that I really enjoyed, and then watching Star Wars, I'm like, oh, this feels extremely dated.
I saw Star Wars for the first time after I had already played through like the entirety of Mass Effect and the entirety of like the Halo series, and to me, it's oh man, this is like
that's
that's
not Mass Effect is my Star Wars in the sense that I love the universe that it set up. Yeah, I think 100%. A lot of people like Star Wars for the universe that's
my reason for like I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm a fan because of the fact that world, like the magic of that world, seems so cool to me. You know, that's where I'm
that way with Mass Effect.
Yeah,
Mass Effect,
but I also love Mass Effect as well because Mass Effect is just like Mass Effect is more Star Trek.
Oh, this motherfucker has not even finished it. He hasn't even finished the trilogy.
I didn't finish it yet. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get to it eventually.
Maybe it's better if you don't.
I mean, if you're trying to force him to do, I know what you mean. No, I just, dude, if for the reason I think, especially with the Legendary Edition, you bought the Legendary Edition, with all of the DLCs, you don't have to, like how I played it. Playing it with all the DLCs included, I think number 3 is a great experience. I think with all, like, you have the explanation of where the Reapers even came from. You have what a lot of people call the real ending when you take Shore Leave of the Citadel DLCs 1 and 2. It feels so satisfactory, in my opinion.
I never actually played those DLCs. I finished it. I finished it where everybody else did.
None of the DLCs with
no.
Mass Effect 3?
I had like I think back then I was like really anti.
Not even the Day 1 DLC?
Was there Day 1 DLC?
There was. It was a big controversy. The entire.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Javik,
what was it?
His entire storyline.
So,
him as a playable character and all the storyline that surrounds it, which is crucial. Without spoiling anything, it's absolutely crucial to like the Mass Effect universe. And it was so obvious that they just EA told BioWare, like, okay, take a part of your game that already exists and put it in as DLC so we can charge more on release. Day 1 DLC was absolute bullshit, and I'm glad I played it with it, because as I was playing it, I was like, I didn't realize until like I was so far through it. I was like, wait, this is DLC? This feels like a necessary component to like the story that they're telling.
That's so fucked up.
And it's like everything they've been telling us about for the past 2 games is being explained right now.
That's crazy. So I just didn't finish Mass Effect 3 then. I guess I have to, because
not really.
I remember I finished it and it had that stupid color choice bullshit, and then it ended. And I was like, what? And I remember like thinking like it wasn't. There was a huge thing around that time. Colin was actually a huge part of it, because he was like, this is the game. This is what they made. Deal with it. And people were like upset because like, what do you mean? But like to me, I was just like, all right, well, that was unsatisfying. Still great. Like I had a good time up until now. But so it's kind of hard to.
Chris, you probably at least got that extended patch that gave you some sort of like, because a lot of people were like, wait, so what happened to this? What happened to this? What happened? Like, I want to know what happened to the L Core, like different. Do you remember experiencing?
It's. I will admit, it's been a very, very long time. 2 is the one that like I really, really fucking. Okay. I loved 2 like deeply.
I'm gonna
like.
If you haven't seen this video that I'm linking you, watch that after. Except Sweeney, because you haven't finished it.
Except Sweeney.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
Can I be very honest?
It's an interesting fan theory that the developers say is not real, but it makes way more sense than the game. So.
I'll
check it out.
1,000%.
Yeah, I choose to believe it. I don't care if they tell me it's not real.
Sweeney, don't watch.
Did you see that? Apparently, so also because on Reddit that the original plot of the 3rd game was
it was changed. It was supposed to be like dark matter or some shit.
Okay, yeah. So I also feel like if there's something that was
so confused.
Also with
I'm so
We'll move on to questions just so Sweeney is.
Last thing I just want to say before we move forward, not diving into this, I just want to put out that on N7 Day, so November 7th, I'm releasing a power metal song called Commander Shepard.
That's pretty dope.
If you guys mark that shit in your calendars, I'm like, it's pretty
that
much
is
done.
Plenty of notice.
It is like more than enough, really. But since we're on the subject, I'm like,
so Adam, before we go on, who did you choose as your romance option?
Garrus,
that's good.
Obviously.
Garrus. Okay, there you go. There you go. The best choice.
Yeah.
The best choice.
Garrus is amazing.
Garrus is great. I obviously these guys already know. I mean, these guys know my shit.
Tali,
there's even. Yeah, wait.
You got the body pillow.
Yeah.
I forgot you had
official
that.
BioWare merchandise.
Come here.
I love that.
If I could somehow save Matrix Mezzanine, she would be my interest.
Matrix Venezia?
Yeah, she has such large blue breasts, bro. If I could somehow
I like
save
how you want to
her.
romance her based on her tits.
She's kind of a jerk, and she was being controlled by what's his name, and it sucked. But like, just for that, I gotta save her. Liara has to. I'd take Liara, but I guess that's my main choice.
Yeah, all right. Let's move on to some of these.
Okay, let's do it.
We went on a little longer than we usually do for questions, which is good because it's like fucking. That means we're doing a good job here. But let's see, who's this? Boardburger wrote in. He says, what's your opinion on sex scenes in movie? in movies, I guess is what he meant. I personally feel like makes it makes the whole movie feel a little bit odd because it feels like watching softcore porn. This is a bit of a. I do kind of feel like most sex scenes that I see in movies are kind of like not super necessary. They feel kind of.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Like blue is the warmest color. It's like, okay, you made a lesbian movie for straight dudes. Like, this is not for lesbians. But yeah, I mean, like, it depends on the movie, it depends on the context and what the scene is going for. There's often times where I'm watching a movie and the sex scene it doesn't even need to be a sex scene. Like the shot of Megan Fox washing the car in Transformers, that's not a sex scene, but that serves the same purpose as in like the director and their sexuality is like going to be on display, and anybody whose sexuality matches that can go like, oh, that's hot, and everybody who doesn't is just like, okay, I'm bored, you know. So yeah, that's the thing with like appealing to something sexual is like everybody's tastes are so different that it's weird. But there are movies that exist where the sex scenes have purpose. You know, the sex scene in Antichrist is not done for any erotic reasons. Maybe some people, I guess. Don't Look Now has like some sex scene stuff at the beginning, but it feels like playful and natural, and it's like, okay, you're getting into like these characters' relationship at the same time. There's a movie called Short Bus where the entire concept of the movie is that there's a drama happening between several characters, and the characters are fucking, but it's real unsimulated sex, and the actors are just like having sex, and so it's like a narrative drama but with money shots sort of thing. It's kind of interesting. So that's like, yeah, it's an experiment.
That sounds interesting.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on the movie. Depends on the context.
I can't think of a sex scene I've personally seen that I've been like, I guess this fits. Because it's always like, I'm watching a movie, a sex scene comes on, I'm like, all right, cool. And I kind of blank until it's over.
I think the only sex scene that ever pops in my head is just because...
I know the best one.
Watchmen. When fucking Silk
That's
Spectre
a bad one.
and fucking
Yeah.
And like it's just one of those things
is that the one
like
where it's like scored
the
by like
hallelujah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hallelujah. It's just so like
it's annoying.
It's so loud. Like so it stands out when I think about it. Like a loud. There's a very loud sex scene.
Sometimes sex scenes like interrupt what's happening in a movie. So if you're not doing that, then it's fine. But otherwise, yeah.
The one that sticks to me the most is the sex scene from The Room. That horrible, horrible sex scene from that movie.
Oh, which one?
The first one. The first sex scene that is just so inorganic. And I remember I watched the movie when I was like 19, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Because I've never seen a movie that was aware, like almost self-awarely that bad. And it changed my perspective of film. So I was like, oh, this is just madness.
I don't know about that. I don't know if it's self-aware entirely.
No.
It's the most I've seen, I think.
No, it's
not.
Look, man, he's made some stuff since then that's like very obviously leaning into it, but
he's not able to replicate his success at all.
No. We actually have a question about that, which is actually perfect. So Papa Jesus wrote it, and he says, hey, y'all. By now, everyone and their mother has heard of The Room, but I feel like it's just the tip of the so bad it's good iceberg. For example, that movie Zombie Nation is leagues funnier in how unbelievably god-awful it is, and it is a masterclass in what not to do for filmmaking. What are some amazingly terrible movies you'd recommend to everyone? I feel like I've heard of Zombie Nation. It's like not the first time I've heard about it.
It's somewhere on the bottom list of IMDb.
Yeah.
This is like considered one of the worst movies of all time, I think. It used to be on the bottom list. I don't think it's there now, I guess.
I picked this question initially because I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about how like The Room kind of like I remember The Room being like a really huge thing, and I think after or around the time of that Disaster Artist movie, there was this feeling of like, oh, it's a little played out, or like it's not really, people don't think about The Room nearly as much as they did before that movie,
or at least people in our circle, like where we're talking about like internet culture and stuff, you know.
It was already done
because The Room was like once it hits the mainstream, it's like the entire Disaster Artist movie was just like, remember when he said oh hi Mark? It's like, okay, like that's that's pretty much all there was to it. It got nominated for an Oscar for screenplay, which is really funny.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Tommy Wiseau's story getting nominated
funny.
for an Oscar, basically. Yeah, I love Neil Breen. Neil Breen's my favorite, so bad that it's good director right now. He consistently creates masterpieces, and yeah, he keeps them. He's the only so bad that it's good director to just keep that consistent level of quality without getting changed by the outside world, because his films are so nonsense that he's able to say, "Oh, they just don't get it if they don't like it," sort of thing. You know, it's complicated.
He reads as a very unstable. Like, I don't think he's capable of understanding. Like, Tommy Wiseau is like, because I've been to, I think in 2012, I went to like a screening in Manhattan, like a live screening of The Room where Tommy was there. He took a picture. I have a picture with him somewhere on my Facebook. I'll find it. But, you know, he obviously had some semblance of an idea. Like, if he's showing up to these things and people are like throwing spoons at the screen, like
he eventually pretended that he was trying to make a comedy the whole time.
Right. And then he had that other thing. It's like, I remember the house that drips blood on Alex was a thing he made, which is like it's like I can't remember if it was like a mini series or if it was like a really short film.
Oh my God.
But it was like, I remember it being called The House
short.
That yeah. And that was like terrible, but you could feel like the intention behind it kind of start to, like, you could feel
he
the
did not
intent.
write or direct that. He just starred in it.
Right. But what I'm saying, like, the role was, it was
Like a bad thing.
it was very clearly like not accidentally terrible.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The performance.
And then, so if you've ever seen Tommy Wiseau's like The Neighbors, the TV series he made, 2014.
Oh yeah.
He tried to do a comedy and still failed, and it's unwatchable because when you try to create something earnest and fail, it's funny. When you try to create a comedy and fail, it's not funny. So it's just absolutely unwatchable, and so he'll never recreate the same success with The Room. He's incapable of it because The Room was lightning in a bottle or whatever.
Yeah. Neil Breen is something else. I haven't delved in as deeply as you have, but
it's so good. If anybody wants Neil Breen, watch Fateful Findings. That's one of my favorites.
That's the one I saw. He has two other ones, right? Or how many does he have? Oh my God, there's kind of a lot.
On record, he has 5, and then a like 5.5 hour long self-made documentary talking about him making his films that explains like literally nothing.
Oh my God.
It's just him repeating himself. And then he has another film coming out at some point. But there's some speculation, there's some rumors that he had movies that existed before the ones that are known of, and then he just like got rid of them. I think it was like Charlie Critical who was saying that there was another one, but I don't know. The guy is like, his first 2 films that exist on IMDb, Double Down and I Am Here Now, he's like not selling them anymore. I guess he got embarrassed of them or something, which is weird because all of his other movies are like still also very bad.
Same caliber.
I love how they're all equivalent. I've only seen Fateful Findings, but I've seen like snips of other ones where it's just like, this seems pretty consistent. I love how Double Down and I'm Here Now have the same exact photo of him on the on the
Oh yeah, that's great.
That's so
and they're
funny.
like and they're 2 years apart.
Yeah,
it's so fucking Neil Breen is
he's
wonderful person.
He's a Breenius. Yeah, I have anybody curious. I have a video on Neil Breen. Watch it. It's a good summary.
Sweet. I would recommend. It's kind of a little bit outside of the so bad it's good because it's almost insufferable. However, because of Steven Seagal, like I have a little bit of a slight obsession with him in his old age and the movies that he's in because of him specifically. Everything else surrounding the movies are fucking terrible, but because of him being in there, it's worth watching because he takes these roles that don't make sense for who he is
at all.
Like I would just say, for example, Sniper Special Ops is a fucking great one. Just watching his performance in that is fucking...
Dude, that reminds me so bad. I saw that movie by mistake somewhere, dude. I don't remember where I saw it.
That's me with Travolta. Like with that Fanatic movie or whatever the hell, where he plays
Oh, I still haven't seen it. I keep forgetting to see it.
It's pretty funny.
It's a good movie. It's a good watch.
I would highly recommend that movie. That is a movie that is just so.
Good,
that is a staggering movie to watch.
It's a good watch. I enjoyed it.
Every choice in it is very
wrong.
It's not like The Room where you're like, oh, everybody is incompetent here. It's like you're watching it and there's like people who clearly know what they're doing, but they don't know why or like what the purpose is. And things feel like really disjointed, and there's like choices made by everybody's making the wrong choice in the right way in that movie, and it's fucking fascinating. No. You haven't seen that, Derek? Really?
Well, all I saw was the review of it, or the half in the bag of it. You
have to.
I never actually watched it. I keep forgetting to watch it.
It's I have to send it to you or something.
I did a commentary track to it.
It's
awesome.
It's you should watch
so
that.
I can do the marriage. I can.
Speaking of videos, I just want to shout out that Lion King movie that you did,
dude.
That Lion King video because I watched it. Yeah, part one. I watched. I have it on in the background sometimes. Like I'll watch it, like because it's really difficult when you know a lot about something, like very specifically, to kind of like telegraph exactly why every single facet of it is wrong. Because sometimes I go through this with certain things that I hyperfixate on, where it's like, is this so specific that it's not really important to most people? And I appreciate that video because it really is like everything that I thought and then stuff that I hadn't considered.
It is. It is.
There's a lot more wrong with it than should be possible.
Right.
It shouldn't be possible for that much to be wrong with a single movie.
It's the best critique of a film. I sorry to interrupt you, but it's the best critique, like full-fledged. Like I'm looking at this piece, period, and I'm going to point out everything that is wrong with it. And it's one major point of what's wrong with the movie. It's one major point, which is that it relies solely on the fact that we saw the original movie. That is the main problem with it.
On its own at all.
That's the main problem with it. But the fact that you point out why at every single moment of the movie it does that is so impressive to me. It's like, wow.
Yeah, and there is a difference between like, because I do think there's a little, I don't know, there is this idea, and I've seen it on Twitter, and I do kind of agree with it, where it's like there is like a level of like CinemaSins tier kind of criticism, like thrown around on like Twitter all the time about like, oh, here's a screenshot of like, oh, the coffee cup shouldn't be there, and it's like it's very different to pick apart a movie in that way, and in the way that Lion King video is. It reminds me a lot of the Plinkett oh my god, the original trilogy Star Wars videos. It's like there to me, where it's like it's a really fucking solid video. So everybody should watch that video if you haven't.
Appreciate that.
I can't stand The Lion King, and I had no idea why. I couldn't stand it until that video.
It's just a nightmare. It's just like it shouldn't be possible for so much to be wrong about a movie.
And
it's because I'm so passionate about the original, and like I understand it better than the director of the remake. So
that's what I was.
There's things that need to be communicated, and I think I also benefit by being a person that like not a lot of people can articulate things about music very well, and I have a bit of a background with music, and that's just such a key, important part to the experience of both films. So,
well, since this is kind of like I mean, we could pick up where Sweeney went after this, but I just want to get it out there because Elsie Bray's Pyramid Scheme wrote in. She goes, greetings and salutations, Mr. Adam. As we all know, your love of The Lion King, the animated one, is no secret, which makes me curious. What about The Lion King makes it one of your favorite Disney movies, and what do you think it does better than the others?
Well, it is the only Disney movie that really isn't afraid to be like brutal with its emotions. Some might disagree. Some might say like, oh yeah, like one of the Pixar movies. Like the first however many minutes of Up is like pretty brutal too. But I feel like in The Lion King, we've never really gotten a film other than that where it develops a character like Mufasa for the entire first act and like his relationship with Simba, and then they die, right? Whereas like Up, it's like, okay, this character, we're getting like a little montage of their life, and then they die, and then it gives motivation for the main character the rest of the film. But in The Lion King, it's like you actually take something away from the audience that the audience had experienced with the character of Simba, and because it was, you know, Disney's side project at the time, they thought Pocahontas was going to be like the big moneymaker, so they had a B team work on The Lion King. Because of that, they were able to take a lot more risks in that sense and be able to tell a much more risk-taking, much more unique story in that sense. And they haven't made anything like that since. It was also the peak of 2D animation for Disney, like before they started just like exclusively going 3D, and you know, much after a lot of the like kinks were worked out of 2D animation. So it was really like basically perfected. There's like tiny things wrong with the animation. Again, CinemaSins level worthy, and I pointed some of them out, but you know, it's still my favorite animated movie ever. It's got a range of emotions. I can watch it in any mood. I can be like happy, angry, you know, sad, horny, whatever, and I can just watch the movie.
It's a versatile movie for sure. I like that. It's kind of, it's been a long time since I've watched the original again.
I don't have that movie like the back of my hand, like terrifyingly. Like that's like one of the few Disney movies I think I watched until it like got completely inscribed into my brain. Like oh, sorry to interrupt you, but there's a scene in the new one where they're walking on the tree as Simba grows up, and that scene is so horrible in the new one because you don't see like the biggest thing about Lion King, why it works for me is because of the fact, and why it doesn't work in other one. My problem is that the way they can emote in animation is not the way an animal emotes. That's just not how it works. Like it's a visually impressive that those are fake animals that look so real, I guess. But like
it's a tech demo is what it is.
But like Simba eating the first grub, like him eating the first grub, being like slimy yet satisfying. Like his face when he eats it means so much. It's like, oh, he really enjoys it, opposed to when he does it in the thing.
What I really loved about that scene is that you thought the grub looked delicious too.
Yeah,
like I thought, when I was watching that movie, I thought that looks fucking delicious. And in the new one, it's just literally a fucking pile of worms, and it's like, oh man,
and it's like gross.
It's lacking like color and expression, and like, even if I pointed this out in the review, but like even if you were so strict that like you wanted a rule of no facial expressions are allowed, there's other ways in the language of filmmaking to be able to convey emotion that he just chose not to do. And so it's like, okay, well, like, go fuck yourself, dude. Like, why did you even make this? Like,
I love
it doesn't make any sense.
I love that you brought up the fact that it was the B team, because that is such a common thing that happens with a lot of even like video games and movies, and like I specifically think about the original Combat Evolved, how that was like people, like I think the people at Microsoft thought there was like some game called Azuric or like some weird other game, or like people thought like Oddworld was going to be like the system seller for the console. So they were like, we'll let these guys just do whatever, I guess, you know. And they didn't really have a ton of notes. They just let them do whatever the fuck they want. And it was like the grand fucking, like objectively probably like the only real fucking successful thing out of that launch window. And the fact that it's like true with the Lion King.
What was it called?
Probably. I don't remember if it was like actually the. Hold on, let me. I can't. It was like
it's been proven.
If you look
so
up Xbox launch titles, it'll definitely like be there. It's like some weird Avatar looking fucking thing, not Airbender. Fucking.
Oh, the blue.
They released that movie again too. That movie's on theaters now, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, because they got to prep you for the second one, because everyone forgot about the first one.
I forgot
Who the fuck cares about that movie, bro?
You know what? I got pretty cynical about
know.
it too, and then I rewatched it in the past year for my podcast, and I'm like, yeah, this works. I like the music. Yeah, like there's a reason why it was successful. It's not
like
great.
the way it looks.
Like
it looks beautiful. I give it that.
I'm comfortable with it. I'm not gonna be. I am the usually so cynical, but I'm okay with Avatar. I'll watch the second one with cautious optimism, but I don't think it'll be great.
I feel you. I just always felt that it didn't deserve the amount of praise it was getting. That's all. Kind of like the way with what happened with what was that just came out, Top Gun Maverick.
Oh really?
See, like the type of reviews that, like, I was seeing people that I know. I saw it twice, and I just think there's no way a movie about jets is that good. There's no.
I understand it. I understand it. I'm like not up there. I made a review on that too. I get it. I understand exactly why like it's that successful. It has an energy to it. If you ignore all of the dialogue scenes and like go to the bathroom instead, then it's a great movie.
Is it though? I don't know, man. Like I did like the action. I thought the action scenes were really fun. I was like, it's the dogfighting's fun. That's fun. And then the everything that okay, cool. But I felt like it was the most. It was like this, and was it because it was the safest movie? It was one of the safest movies I've ever seen, as far as like just low stakes and nothing really. You're talking about romance. Everything was just very.
In Maverick?
Basic. It was it was just kind of sprinkled in. I
still haven't seen it.
I just felt like it was like a very, I don't know, man. I know it was gonna be overhyped for me, but I at least thought. I'm not sure what like when you say you get it. I don't really understand why people were so like
he doesn't know what you get. He doesn't know.
I just don't really because I'm like okay the action wasn't the best action I've ever seen, so. I can't even. I don't even want to rewatch that. I don't even. It's just not anything I'd ever want to watch twice. You know what I'm saying?
I'd watch it a second time for the action. I thought the action was great.
Okay.
I thought that it was like a healthy mix of like, practical and non-practical effects that
was
turned out to be like really convincing for it.
Right.
And also like I don't know if you've seen the original Top Gun. It's so much better than the original Top Gun in terms of like it being able to correct all of the issues with like pacing and
the first Top Gun I've seen, and I saw Maverick like maybe like a week or so ago, and I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good. Like I don't hate most things.
Bad.
I'm the one that generally likes I'm the person that likes Star Wars and Marvel comics, in this group. So I like most things. Most things don't really bother me. I just thought Top Gun was fine. I think Avatar. Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way.
I thought Avatar was fine.
I didn't like the first one.
Look at the ratings. Look at the ratings of Maverick versus Bullet Train, for example. I would say, like I watched Bullet Train, and I was like, this is a movie that I would like to own a physical copy of. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough. I don't know your opinion on it. You might think it was.
I didn't watch it because I don't like the director. In terms of like, not like I have a vendetta against them, but I've seen their other movies and they seemed unspecial. I looked at the Metascore; it seemed unspecial, and so I was like, okay, if I see this, it'll be at home. I didn't want to go to theaters for it.
I didn't go. Actually, I did. I went
saw
to the theater because it was the $3. What was it? They did that $3 movie day like a couple of weeks ago or something in the United States. It was like National Movie Day where every movie was $3 or some shit.
I heard about that. That's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Movie Day.
I saw that. I really enjoyed it.
I found
Azaric.
Yeah.
So what's so special about this? This is like
Azaric Rise of Parathia. That was supposed to be like the big title.
That was.
Yeah, it was
a mouthful.
Like they thought it was going to be like their Zelda or whatever. They thought it was going to be like
their Pocahontas,
like a huge fucking
their Pocahontas.
Yeah, their Pocahontas. But yeah, I think The Lion King does stand pretty high emotionally. Like it's a pretty resonant movie. I think there are parts of other Disney movies that kind of get close, but never they're not as like I think. Oh my God, There are parts of Hunchback that I think are fucking crazy. Like that. I
need to rewatch that. I haven't seen it in a long time.
It doesn't.
I only saw it as a kid, so
the whole thing doesn't hold up as well because there's like there was when they were starting to dabble in like CG. So like especially now on like modern monitors, you could see like the crowds are like these really like awful CG sprites, and it looks like kind of like an early PS4 kind of like a sports game crowd. You know how they're just like kind of like loosely detailed and they're like cycling animations. So like there's certain things like that don't work. But I think the villain in that movie, like there's certain like beats that are like yeah. I think there's just certain beats in that movie that are fucking outrageous for a Disney movie, and it ages pretty well. But Lion King is definitely stem to stern from like beginning to end. It's definitely like the least flawed Disney movie that I can remember from.
It's definitely not my favorite one. I like it a lot, but it's definitely not my favorite one. I would have to
What's
say
your favorite Disney movie?
Probably Tarzan or Tarzan, Mulan, or Aladdin are my
It's
like
not
three.
Tarzan. It's not Tarzan.
It might be Tarzan.
It's not Tarzan.
Tarzan's got a killer soundtrack, I will say.
Phil
that
Collins.
music,
But that's more Phil Collins than Tarzan.
We talked about this before, though.
But that
like,
music
bro,
is attached to that movie for me, like intrinsically. It's like
But
thinking
when
of.
is the last time you've had the urge to watch Tarzan?
I watched Tarzan like a year ago. Dead serious. I think I watched it with Chris.
No, we did not watch
guys-
Tarzan.
I'll rewatch
I
it.
have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
We
I
didn't
haven't seen
watch it.
Tarzan.
I guess I watched it with just Gabby.
It might have been another Chris.
It might as well
It's
be
a very
Gabby
common name.
because I've definitely watched that in my old apartment where we lived together. Like, no, that wasn't the last one. So maybe like a year and a half ago, 2 years, I watched it in my old apartment. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'll accept that.
And then there's Aladdin. Obviously, Aladdin is great. And then there's Mulan.
I mean, sure.
I shouldn't forget to mention that The Lion King has like some of the best casting of any animated movie.
That's
like
true.
in terms of like James Earl Jones and Jeremy Irons, like they had voices where it's like, okay, I can understand why they're playing lion characters. You remove the animation and you listen to their performances alone, and you understand exactly what they're going for. You understand that they're playing like fierce and animalistic characters, and like,
They play kings.
the bass of James Earl Jones's voice just like erupting in the theater, like with a good sound system. And it was at the time where they could hire, you know, celebrity actors, but it was for their talent, and they weren't necessarily, you know, flashing on the poster like, and Whoopi Goldberg. It was like before the idea of trying to sell an animated movie based on the voice performances, and now you just get like, oh, John Oliver playing fucking Zazu. Like, go fuck yourselves. And so that and also it's probably one of my favorite scores of all time, like the actual composition, not just like, you know, Elton John and Tim Rice doing the lyricist, the songs with lyrics. Those are great too. But Hans Zimmer's score,
Zimmer was on that too. God
like,
damn, bro.
Yeah, like
No,
his,
look, put it this way.
his
Put it
score
this
for
way.
that film is like
Put it this
maybe
way.
my favorite score for.
If you
the
think
movie.
it sounds great, there is a high probability it was
That
Hans
Zimmer
Zimmer.
was involved somehow.
That's just basically where
I think it's his
ended up
best.
like, this sounds really good, and then you look it up. Oh, of course, Hans. Even when I was playing, because I remember playing Modern Warfare 2 in 09, and I was like, oh man, like I'm like really getting into this. I'm really getting into the score. Which I don't fuck with shooters. I'm never thinking of that, like the army ones. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just shooting people. But I was actually getting into it. There's that snowmobile fucking escape in the second, and I'm like,
I forgot that Hans Zimmer did Modern Warfare 2. That's actually like kind of nuts.
yeah, it's just one of those things where like I'm like, oh, no wonder why I enjoyed
although to be
this.
honest, I do think video games there's a lot stiffer competition as far as like musical composition. Like there's just like a lot of amazing scores in video games in comparison. Like movies have some great.
I think
like,
movies
as far
have
as, like,
great ones too. I just think that we know video game ones more.
I mean that might be very true as well. But like I do think like I don't know. Like I can't really remember Hans Zimmer's. I wouldn't be able to hum Modern Warfare 2's theme to you.
Dun, dun,
You know what I mean?
dun, dun,
And I
dun,
played-
dun,
and I played a
dun,
ton of
dun,
it.
dun, dun. Even I know it, and I hate, like, genuinely for real, I hate that game, and I know it, which is
Why
wild.
do you hate that game?
I hate
What are
Modern.
you talking about?
I think Modern Warfare 2 is a terrible
not get
video
into it.
game that people think they like, but
Yeah, we'll get into that
Yeah, we
next
don't-
time.
yeah, we obviously
I do
don't have
wanna.
time for that,
I do
but-
want to. We'll do one more, and I'm singling this out because this is it's vaguely adjacent to
I
one of the
hate
reasons
that I know
think
it. I hate that I know that.
It's
God damn
it's
it.
vaguely adjacent to some of the reasons why Adam and I even started talking in the first place, and it's making out with Dave Rubin to own the libs. He wrote it. He says, "Huge fan of both your podcasts. If it hasn't already been brought up yet, what are everyone's thoughts on the Halo TV show?"
It's so funny. I was incapable of watching it on my own, and that TV show is, I think, the entire reason why I started my watch-alongs channel. So now I have a channel where I watch a film on stream. I don't show it on stream. I don't, play the video or audio. But I have a timer at the bottom, and I sync it up, and then chat watches it at the same time. It's like a watch-along party. That was the only way I could get through it. And it was fun to dunk on it and just have, say things and have chat be there and everything. That was the only way I could get through it. And so that's like literally the only I was thinking about doing something like that. And then the Halo TV show happened. I tried watching it by myself. I was like, I can't. I shut it off after 20 minutes. And so it really got the ball rolling on the watch along channel. Because, I watched through the whole season and it was hilarious. It was so stupid.
Yeah, the one positive outcome of the Halo TV show.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ,
that had the creation of Jimmy Rings.
I had a problem with that from the very get go that I have with certain things. Like when you know an actor from somewhere else. Like I watched Orange Is the New Black, and I saw, this is who Master Chief is, and I'm like, that's that degenerate correctional officer from Orange Is the New Black.
Terrible,
and that guy was fucking goofy in that show.
Terrible.
And so the perception of him being this badass was so thrown out the window immediately for me.
Yeah. You shouldn't see the actor's fucking face, first of all.
Yeah.
From the very moment, look, for me, Chief is great. I like Arbiter more. I've always been more of an Arbiter guy. So from the moment it was about Master Chief, he showed his face, I was like, I just don't care. And they were like, there's a little girl that was raised by the Sangheili instead of there being Arbiter as a connection to humanity. And I was just like, they would
have to CG a character for more than just the action scenes.
Yeah, that's literally the. I have a video that I'm working on about this, so I'm not going to get too in depth with it.
Sure.
It's taking a very, very long time. It's probably like the most equivalent to like your Lion King video because I have a lot to say about it, and there's just not enough. It's too much. But I will say my main problem with these, and it will always be true, is that if you're going to take a video game and you're going to turn it into a television show, generally speaking, unless it's very hyper specific, like I think The Last of Us could work. Like I think that's possible. Or
it's
like
already
it's already here.
It's already incredibly it's already incredibly grounded. It's already realistic enough. But most of the time, these need to be fucking animated. Like if you're going to do it at all, which I would argue is like very like largely unnecessary, but I get it. Like you want as many people doing it, and it is kind of cool to have like, hey, maybe mom and dad or friends who don't play games. This is something adjacent to something I enjoy. Let me share this with you in a way that you can appreciate it. I get that. I understand that value, but just based on the track record that we've seen, it's like even the animated video game adaptations that we've seen that weren't particularly all that amazing. Like people have differing opinions on the most recent Cyberpunk Edge Runners thing. They have differing opinions on Castlevania. They have differing opinions on all these other things. I was able to sit through all of those and enjoy them, at the very least, for just the presentation alone. And that is not going to happen with fucking some random guy from Orange Is the New Black walking around in a fucking cosplay outfit that looks like I could have built it.
Could you imagine a live action Castlevania show?
It'd be terrible. That
would be so genuinely hilarious to watch.
Yeah. Think about I was actually thinking about I used to enjoy watching the CG Resident Evil films that were coming out in like the mid to late 2000s or whatever. But I would watch them with my friends. It was like fun because it would be like dumb. Like I don't remember which one it was, but there was just a bunch of those Mr. X type of dudes, and Leon's just fucking like dodging them and all. It's just so wacky, but it's like, yeah, of course Japan would make something like this, right?
I like the one. I like the one where the guy gets like vivisected 10 million times, and he like by the
falls
lasers,
to pieces,
and he's just staring really silently.
Oh, like the first Resident Evil movie.
Yeah.
I always remember that because of they got Slipknot to be on that. They fucking, that was like one of the, I always watch with like horror films or whatnot. They always wanted to put metal on them, and that was like a weird thing in the early 2000s. So Freddy versus Jason.
You're totally right. That was even with
hardcore.
Hardcore.
Yeah, right. It's so
even with
brutal.
Godzilla. Didn't they have like No Shelter by fucking Rage?
The 98 one?
Because I remember because I added No Shelter to like one of my Spotify playlists because like, oh yeah, Rage, I forgot, like, and just add some stuff. And the cover of that song on my playlist is Godzilla 98.
That's hilarious.
I actually don't remember that.
I mean, it was probably just on the soundtrack. You know, that happened a ton.
Okay,
back then.
yeah, No Shelter is on there, but it's also very like Fuel is on here. Fucking the Wallflowers. God damn, that is a 90s throwback. Jamiroquai, which I didn't even know.
What the fuck? Jamiroquai?
Oh
Yeah, and not Virtual Insanity. It's called Deeper Underground. So nobody here has heard that song.
Oh my
David.
God.
Okay. A lot of score
I want
type
to.
shit. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want to point out two funny things about the Halo show that you can put in your video if you want.
Oh, sure.
One is I have a theory for why they changed it so that Cortana's not in his helmet and it's in his neck or whatever. It's so that she can continue yapping to him while his helmet's off. So they can just have his helmet off the entire show while she's still talking.
I came to a almost very, very similar conclusion. But I don't think you're wrong.
You guys got to talk about the ash cheek shots. Like they were just.
I was just about to mention that actually.
Yeah,
sorry, I took your wind out of me.
One of my favorite parts of Halo was the random out of place nudity that was so prevalent.
Did you ever watch my Death Race 2 review way back, like ancient, like 2012 or whatever?
So honestly, probably yes, but there's no way I'm going to remember.
So, in that review, I talk about the director, Roll Renee, who I was basically accusing of being a closet gay because of how he filmed the movie. So first Death Race, different director. That was like Paul W. Sanderson or whatever. Death Race 2 direct-to-video. He decides to cast Luke Goss, and despite the like pretense of like, okay, well, this is about cars and like women and like, yeah, macho stuff. And they have they do cast like a busty woman in the film, but the way that the film is shot, it's like, okay, you have a shower scene, Luke Goss is like completely naked, the other girl completely clothed, and the way that they film it, it's like so highlighting on his body. I'm like, okay, Roll Renee is like, if he's not out of the closet, he should be like, please come out of the closet, Roll. As we're watching through the Halo show, I realized that the 2 episodes with random butt shots in them are directed by Roll Renee. Every other episode, not directed by him.
Let's go.
Are you serious? That's
I'm 100% serious.
amazing.
The director of Death Race 2, who is like just so obviously gay by how he shoots his films. And then, oh wow, what a surprise. The only 2 instances of like random dude butts in the Halo show are his episodes. And
That's
every other
fucking
episode,
awesome,
no butts,
dude.
not directed by him.
That is,
And so it's confirming my this is consistent.
I'm so glad we had
awesome.
you on
That's
today
awesome.
because there was no way I was going to make that connection. Not in a
awesome,
million years.
It's literally it's insane. It's so funny.
These things write themselves, man. These things write
That's
themselves.
like fucking what was that fucking Dan Snyder and his feet, like
Bro.
Yeah.
or if I let Quentin Tarantino, whatever, but
or Quentin Tarantino. He made Django. He's fine. But
he made a couple of things. He made a couple of movies.
He made Inglourious Bastards. Whatever.
Okay, well, hold on. Listen.
Yeah.
Let's be careful not to compare Quentin Tarantino to Dan Schneider, right?
I mean, look at
There's
you
a
can't be
preach.
careful, but there's still time for Quentin Tarantino to be, because of how Hollywood works.
There's
I don't
more
like
plot.
that.
Still time.
Let me just
for him to be a way more of a degenerate than Dan Schneider.
Did you see Quentin Tarantino on 106 in Park and putting on like a black voice, air quotes?
Oh, a black scent? Yeah.
Yeah. That shit was vibrant. I loved it. It was a great video.
Sweeney. Quentin Tarantino is assuredly autistic.
Oh, undoubtedly.
It is so clear to me.
You can't be good at things really if you're not.
No, I just mean like just the way
stupid.
The way that he speaks and just like like sometimes he'll speak like the people he's around. Like I've noticed this over the course of like just watching interviews with him. It's like he kind of chameleons sometimes, which is like I don't know.
That was funny.
It's interesting, but oh man, I have to write that down because that's amazing. That fact about the Halo show.
That's an excellent fact. That's an excellent fact.
Yeah, you can rewatch my ancient Death Race 2 review or whatever, or just watch the movie. It's very unintentionally gay. It's a very unintentionally gay movie.
That's dope.
Well, that is a cool I would say a video to make, like unintentionally gay movies and just list them.
Yeah.
Because it's probably
it's probably all just his though.
All of his movies, bro.
He hasn't directed much like major notable films is the problem.
That is so funny that they got him to do that though. Like even not even just like the gay the dude butt shit. But like to me it's like this guy he directed Death Race 2. Let's get him on let's get him on the Halo show. Why? What?
Because they were taking a pre-existing property. They were not making it to make a Halo show. They were just making a dumb, average sci-fi television show using Halo as the title, basically.
It's a sci-fi TV show, full stop.
Yeah, I bet that, like, it might be the case where the decision to just have their helmets off meant that they didn't have to hire an actor for extra time, like, dubbing over the lines, right? Because you would never record the lines from in a helmet. You'd always record. Yeah. You would have to hire them for
just
more
to save
hours,
money
like
on
maybe,
ADR.
Maybe
that would make sense.
You never know.
It's not
right. Why else?
Sense.
Like who the fuck?
They
have numbers. They have numbers on their suits. It's not a question as to like who's in the helmet. Their suits look entirely different. Also, everybody knows which character's which. If you're watching the show, it doesn't matter if their helmet's off. There's literally no reason for it. So you have to like try and speculate.
Because even think about a Deadpool. Like I think prove that. Yeah, you can kind of stick to the source material and keep his shit on, and it'll still make money and stuff.
It's like, very
no one's gonna be like, I don't know who this is.
Well, we have to consider the fact that it's Microsoft doesn't have a lot of money. They don't have. Maybe they just don't have the. They spent like what $70 billion. They spent $70 billion buying fucking Activision, and they just couldn't. They couldn't afford better CG. I'm sorry.
$70 million on Activision. $70 million.
They lost all their money in Mixer.
Huh? Oh yeah, that's right.
They lost all their money in Mixer.
Apparently they didn't because they still had 70. Imagine just purchasing that and then. Think about how much. I feel like couldn't you make a better deal? I mean, fucking Star Wars was like how much? Was it like $6 billion or some shit? I don't even remember. $4 billion.
It's not, hold on, because it's not about a better deal. The point is to overpay. The point is to overpay.
That much?
Yes, they can. That's why.
Okay.
It's like if they pay $70 billion for Activision, who the fuck else is going to offer anywhere near that? They basically secured it. That's
and
like
also
the whole
at that
point.
moment, it's like it's stupid to say no to this much money,
I guess that's like the stupid auction, the auction people, whatever you call
pay
them. That just
$8,000 for that Frankfurter. It's like
literally they could have got away with it for like $500, and they just went to some absurd number just to make sure fend everybody off. But
they went with an absurd number because they're Microsoft and they can. Because every piece of technology that you have and or operate even slightly has some roots in their fucking software, so they can afford that shit. But it's never like, Microsoft doesn't think Activision is worth $70 billion. Like they don't.
Well,
They're paying that to secure the deal.
You said billion?
Yeah, billion. What, a million? Are you kidding?
I'm sorry. You said billion?
Yeah. Do you think that...
Yeah, you know it was 70, but what are you talking about?
Yeah, like $100 million is like a budget for like one AAA game, like if that, and that's on like the lower end.
That'd be crazy buying Activision for
$70 million.
Amazing.
That would have been an amazing deal. To give you an idea, Sony purchased Bungie for about $3.5 billion.
That's funny.
How much was Bethesda purchased for?
Wait, you said
Bethesda was purchased for $7, I believe.
Wait a minute, you guys, You said
billion is a
Call
word.
of Duty. It's
very successful.
Okay, but
it's the
that's so
that
much money.
Shit,
that gave me a headache.
Blizzard
that's
stuff.
So much money. That's all the Blizzard shit. I guess that's like WoW and Call of Duty, and that's already like that money will be back in a year, I guess. But like,
it'll be back fairly quick because of World of Warcraft and Diablo, especially now Diablo has Diablo Immortal, which is just siphoning money from people's wallets. Well, it's incredible.
This is a subject for a later, like a much deeper discussion.
Yeah, true.
But
true.
Well, what are we at right now? Sick. All right. Well, we're at that time. It's about time to
close up shop.
Stop.
Stop, drop, and roll. But that'll be it.
Thank
Bye.
you so much for showing up, man. I appreciate it. Really appreciate you being here, Adam. It was dope.
No, thank you.
Talking
Thanks for having
movies,
me
talking
on.
shop
It was
with you,
dope.
bud.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I like this one.
Yeah.
But
I enjoyed myself. Thank you.
I think you made our listeners less dumb by saying some interesting shit.
This is educational episode.
yeah, we need that.
Yeah, very, very educational.
All right. Well, if you liked what you heard today, consider supporting us over at patreon.com/thesnarktank. Also, check out Your Movie Sucks, obviously. You can find him on pretty much everything. You got like 10 million channels, it feels like.
Yeah, if you go to the Your Movie Sucks YouTube channel and then click on the tab that says channels, and then you can find all my other channels where I do a lot of other things. I do gaming. I have one where I eat food now. Basically, everything I do in my life is a tax write-off at this point. So
Nice.
I have a Twitch stream. Links are everywhere. I have a podcast. I do music.
Putting me to shame, man.
Damn, dude, you're working.
Forever.
I'm trying to sleep. You're working.
And you look good too. Like you don't look like you're burnt out. You don't have like giant bags in your eyes and you're ready to
I was fucking born with bags under my eyes.
Do something that you would regret eternally. You know what I'm saying? You look
I
good.
mean, I keep myself busy. I get burnout in some senses, but like mostly it's just regret that there isn't like more time in each day because I'm like, to do this project I have to put this one on the side burner and blah 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 blah. But I think I'm pretty well structured. I've been going to the gym now, so
yeah, that's a earth-shattering change. Or at least it was for me.
We got to talk about that next episode.
Yeah, we
talk
will.
about this motherfucker going to the gym.
But so if you check out Adam on his channels and pop on over to patreon.com/snarktank. $1 a month gets you early access to every episode and access to bonus solo episodes. $5 gets you a question right on the show. $10 gets you access to our Discord server. That's one payment in, you're in for good. And $25 gets your name dyslexically read at the end of the show, which I will do in now. Whoa! When Derek walks into a room, a dwarf hunter sniffs the air and says, "There's a midget afoot." The Bren word. Derek, wake up, Derek. Andrew Tate's tasty taint. Lisa, piss. The cumstard buck fucket. Chris Sissy Collector. I don't know what's going on. 3XO, the imploding Twitch ecosystem. The milkman that looks like Chris returns, and I've returned for my son. Sweeney, quickly. There's a Twitter account called @Sweeney's Guide. Go there and scan the code to see the video. Not a scam. Rectal Lacerator. Emoticons going like this. Stormboy's life and what he like. Brie Larson, method acting. Oh my god, I've been staring at this fucking monitor for too long. Brie Larson method acting took method acting too far and metamorphosized into an actual lake sturgeon. Your noble truth. I have no urethra, but somehow with God as my witness, I shall come. I am not the fig plucker nor the fig plucker's son, but I'll pluck figs till the fig plucker comes. Call her Little Caesar, the way that pussy hot and ready. Elsie Brace pyramid scheme, aka drip. MH. Nancy Pelosi killing a Palestinian with her massive tits. Obi won't you blow me? A fucking prawn. God, why did I move to this swampland? God, I moved to Florida. Save me. Never mind, Sweeney. I realized you have swamp ass. I am coming for Chris's butt instead. Big Papa Shack. Tevin DeBlack. Kremlin de Gremlin. Binkus Stinkus, the man uppercutting 9/11 jumpers before they hit the ground. Mintberry, I just opened the door to let you the fuck in and you left. Fucking cunt bucket. Mitch McConnell's tortoise shell, all's the wall. Okay, you said it right. Hi, I'm Mega Man X8 guy, and no joke, Spider-Man. 2099 is my favorite Spider-Man. I'm serious here. Abby. Welcome to Andrew Tate's Kidnapped Women and Little Dick Emporium. Fragile Masculinity sold separately. Iron Prawned. Wage Slave 583. Senor Alberto Jose Juan Carlos Gustavo Gonzalez Julio Don Ramon Vicente El Tercero. I feel gay. Fuck you. Shove it in me brain. Get it all mixed up. Like, wow, I'm a troubled soul living in the studio. Flat that's covered in mold. Dead Inside, the Papini Brothers Emporium of Bullet-Filled Uncles, Bastion Head Fathers. That's too long. I'm sorry. Partnered with Sammy Wham's Chicken Coliseum. Skrinkus Hey guys, I just got a new dog. Can everyone say hello to Zuma for me? Hello, Zuma. It's the 5th time I've said hello to you, you son of a bitch. Took my glasses off to fuck your mom. I have astigmatism. Astigmatism. I have PPSD. Fun fact: if your internet service is named after a retard index, you have no right to complain. Have a nice day. Tell him, Steve Dave. Andrew Tate is missing because God sex trafficked him back. John Strickland. Ew. Derek and the rest of these. Read the rest of these names. I'm tired. Merck's 1889, Downey McFrowney, alternative universe where Sweeney is the same in every way, but he's also a big Reagan supporter. Where do women have the curliest hair? Fiji, but you probably misunderstood the question, pervert. The first stretch of Keith David, Gay the Pray Away. I ran over Adam Levine's marriage with my 2003 Silverado with an extended cab and flared bed. Drunken Doulahan, Pre-Roz, Los Homos Hermanos, Blake 896, Fucking Kill Me, Ryan Lucchese, Sloshy Scout, video the Snark Tank Trio sings Never Gonna Give You Up. It is on YouTube if you're interested. Depraved McBooty Warrior, Bubba Babooty, Blocked by Steve Shives, Alaskan Oilfield Trash. Please update the Snark Tank animated playlist. Sue Hulk, Game Controller 25. Danny DeVito is a stealth trans man. Chris, when are you going to get back to me? I showed you my severed head collection out of confidence. Marcus Penis and the number 69 and the Coal Train running a train on Queen Mara, or Mira. Lobotomized Jesus and his merry band of figure nuggets. The Loathsome Cum Eater 3, Tokyo Dick, To Infinity, and Fuck Me in My Asshole. The only stick I touch while driving is my penis, parentheses, I masturbate while driving. Yummy, 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 come inside my tummy. Jackson Abstage, Badly Brave, Hugger Derek, the movie theater manager, Aetherian, Kit Kat, Magirian, Hunting Ass, Melphis 1, Warlock, Hexblade Supremacist, and as always, King of Haphazard. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Snark Tank. Great thanks to YMS for showing up and being cool and being dope. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I left my fucking I left my little banner up. Whoops.